Chapter 2152. Young Master, you've returned. Have you noticed my master's aura? When Yi Chin Feng walked through the night and returned to the lakeside mansion, the Grim Reaper walked over and asked in a low voice, "Alas, I still haven't." Yi Chin Feng sighed lightly and said, "Perhaps your master has already left Lost God City." "Right? Has Planner come out of seclusion?" "Young Miss Planner has already come out of seclusion and is waiting for you in the bedroom," said the Grim Reaper. "All right, go cultivate. If there's no news of your master within 10 days, then we'll leave Lost God City." As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Chin Feng arrived at the bedroom and saw Planner with delicate skin that was as tempting as a peach. "Chin Feng, where have you been?" Planner looked at Yi Chin Feng with tender feelings and asked in a low voice, "I'm here, Planner. Come with me." With a command of his mind, Yi Chin Feng brought Planner to the universe mirror and saw the unconscious Zhuqiu Lin on the ground. Zhuqiu Lin. Planner's eyes instantly turned blood red when he saw the enemy that killed his master, and dense killing intent emanated from his body. "Chin Feng, capture him for me." I originally wanted to make a move against Tuoba Wanjian, but I never expected that the two of them would be together, so I captured him." Yi Chin Feng nodded and said, "Planner, I'll wake him up now so that you can personally avenge your master." "All right." Heaven Thief nodded and took out a sharp dagger. Where am I?" Zhuqiu Lin slowly opened his eyes after being awakened by Yi Chin Feng. When he saw Yi Chin Feng and Planner, all the hairs on his body stood on end. "No, don't kill me. I beg you, please don't kill me. So long as you spare my life, I guarantee that the Zhuqiu clan will give you endless Saint Crystals to spend. I just extorted 100 million top-grade Saint Crystals from the Tuoba clan, so I still need your Zhuqiu clan Saint Crystals," said Yi Chin Feng indifferently. "What?" Zhuqiu Lin was stunned. "Zhuqiu Lin, I once swore on my master's grave that I would definitely kill you to avenge my master. Die." Heaven Plunderer held a sharp dagger and stabbed at the heavily injured Zhuqiu Lin, who was suppressed by the universe realm. Puff! Puff! Zhuqiu Lin's body was pierced through by the Heaven Plucker. A large amount of blood spurted out. He was in so much pain that he was hovering between life and death. He kept howling in pain. As Zhuqiu Lin struggled with all his might, the dagger in Heaven Plunderer's hand slashed across his neck and chopped off his head. His soul wasn't spared either. Heaven Plunder grabbed it and crushed it. "Do you feel better?" Yi Chin Feng said softly as he watched the Heaven Plucker crush Zhuqiu Lin's soul to avenge her master. Dying like this is too easy for him. Although Heaven Pilfer had killed Zhuqiu Lin, he still couldn't vent his anger at the thought of his master's miserable state. Let's go. Let's go to the Zhuqiu clan and destroy them." Yi Chin Feng held Heaven Plunderer's little hand and left the universe realm. They stepped into the dark night and headed to the Zhuqiu clan's mansion in the western part of the city. It was built like a palace. "Stop! Who are you? What are you doing in the Zhuqiu clan's mansion in the middle of the night?" The Zhuqiu clan's guards who were guarding the mansion immediately became alert when they saw Yi Chin Feng and Heaven Plunder walking in the dark night. They questioned loudly, "We are here to send Zhuqiu Lin home." With that, a bloody head appeared in Yi Chin Feng's hand and he threw it at the guard. "Why, young master? Young master is dead." The guards were all dumbfounded when they saw Zhuqiu Lin's head. They cried out in alarm and immediately alarmed the entire Zhuqiu clan. "Young Master Lin." The Zhuqiu clan's old butler was furious when he saw the head in the guard's hand. He looked at Yi Chin Feng and Heaven Plunder and said, "You killed young Master Lin." "That's right." Yi Chin Feng nodded and said, "I killed him. If you want revenge, then come at me." "Good, good, good. My Zhuqiu clan has stood tall in Lost God City for countless years. You are the first person who dares to provoke us," Zhuqiu clan's old butler said with a murderous look in his eyes. Someone else said the same thing. Unfortunately, he was sent flying by my slap again and again. Yi Qinfeng smiled and said indifferently, "Sent flying. You are the person who fought with City, Lord Tuoba." The battle between Yi Qinfeng and Tuoba Wei Hai had alarmed the entire Lost God City. The Zhuqiu clan's almighty had even gone to watch. After hearing Yi Qinfeng's words, Zhuqiu clan's old butler immediately thought of Yi Qinfeng's identity. "That's right, it's me." Yi Qinfeng nodded and said, "All right, let's cut the crap. Come at me together." "Young master, my Zhuqiu clan has never offended you. Why do you have to force us?" Yi Qinfeng could even defeat Tuoba Wei Hai. The Zhuqiu clan was definitely no match for him. After confirming Yi Qinfeng's identity, Zhuqiu clan's old butler's murderous intent was immediately replaced by fear. "All right, I am an easy person. I don't want to make things difficult for you, nor do I want to start a massacre. Let me destroy the Zhuqiu clan's residence, and we will leave immediately." Yi Qinfeng said indifferently, "Forgive my Zhuqiu clan for not agreeing to your request." A deep voice sounded, and a thin old man in a gray robe, who seemed to be too weak to stand up to a gust of wind, appeared in the dark night. "Ancestor." Everyone from the Zhuqiu clan bowed when they saw the old man in the gray robe. "Middle-level empty god." Yi Qinfeng smiled faintly when he sensed the old man's strength. "I didn't expect the Zhuqiu clan to have hidden talents. However, compared to Tuoba Wei Hai, you are still too weak. I hope you won't force me to kill you." "Is that so?" The old man in the gray robe narrowed his eyes and said, "I don't believe you. I would like to have a taste of your skills. If that's the case, go ahead. If I can't defeat you in 3 punches, consider it my loss," Yi Qinfeng said arrogantly. Presumptuous. The old man in the gray robe was highly respected. When had he ever been looked down upon? He roared and merged with the Zhuqiu clan's ancestral bloodline. He forcefully raised his combat strength to the peak of middle-level empty god. "I'm done counting. First punch," Yi Qinfeng instructed coldly. He unleashed a force of more than 1 trillion jin and threw a punch at the old man in the gray robe. The space in front of the old man in the gray robe shattered and turned into a vacuum. The terrifying force made it difficult for the old man in the gray robe to breathe. He had to use the power of the ancestral bloodline to defend himself. Boom! After taking Yi Qinfeng's punch head-on, the old man in the gray robe was forced to retreat. His arms cracked open and blood spurted out from his mouth, dyeing his snow-white beard red. Second punch. Before the old man in the gray robe had a chance to catch his breath, Yi Qinfeng stomped on the ground. He merged his powerful Dao intent and threw out a second punch. The terrifying fist radiance was like a roaring dragon. It let out a dragon's roar and a tiger's roar as it blasted towards the old man in the gray robe who had summoned a pseudo-void god artifact to defend himself. Under the punch, the spear-shaped pseudo-void god artifact broke. The terrifying fist radiance landed on the old man in the gray robe and sent him flying. He let out a blood-curdling scream and flew a few thousand meters away. He fell into the pitch-black backyard of the Zhuqiu clan. No one knew if he was dead or alive. Gulp! After witnessing Yi Qinfeng severely injuring a peak middle-level empty god with 2 punches, the experts of the Zhuqiu clan were stunned. They looked at Yi Qinfeng with fear in their eyes. No one dared to attack, and they all retreated. From today onwards, there will be no more Zhuqiu clan in Confusion City. Yi Qinfeng announced the fate of the Zhuqiu clan. Under the destruction of Yi Qinfeng and Plunder Heaven, the Zhuqiu clan that had been established for countless years in Confusion City was destroyed. Chapter 2153. Heaven Plucker, you should be able to vent your anger now, right? After returning to the lakeside mansion, Yi Qinfeng looked at Heaven Plucker with tears in her beautiful eyes as he spoke softly. Heaven Plucker threw herself into Yi Qinfeng's embrace, tightly hugging his strong waist as she said gratefully, "Changfeng, thank you." If I didn't meet you, I think I wouldn't be able to avenge my master in this lifetime. Yi Chen-feng gently stroked Heaven Plucker's silky long hair and said softly, "All right, just follow me obediently in the future. With me around, I won't let anyone bully you." Heaven Plucker nodded. However, when she thought of how outstanding Yi Chen-feng was, she couldn't help but sigh in her heart. At the same time, she also made up her mind. "Ching-feng, it's getting late. Let's go back to our room and rest." Heaven Plucker gently stood on her tiptoes and placed her soft lips beside Yi Chen-feng's ear as she spoke in a flirtatious voice. Touching the gentleness in Heaven Plucker's eyes and seeing the deep meaning in her eyes, Yi Chen-feng's heart couldn't help but tremble. He gently hugged her soft body and returned to the bedroom to study divine arts with her. Amidst their joy, he forced the pill poison in his body into her body, increasing the power of her innate poison physique. Yi Chen-feng hid in the room and cultivated divine arts with Heaven Plucker to eliminate the pill poison in his body. The entire Lost God City fell into a huge commotion because of Yi Chen-feng. Especially when the Zhuqiu clan was annihilated last night, it enraged many big shots in Lost God City. However, Yi Chen-feng's combat strength was too terrifying, causing the big shots in Lost God City to have misgivings. No one was willing to be the first to deal with him. They were all waiting for the Tuoba clan's revenge. And the news that Yi Chen-feng was preparing to sell the God Confusion Ancient Seal in the Heaven Immortal Tower caused a huge commotion. For a time, Yi Chen-feng became the absolute focus of Lost God City. Almost every day, there would be many people talking about him. Soon, it was the day Yi Chen-feng agreed to auction the God Confusion Ancient Seal in the Heaven Immortal Tower, with Heaven's stealing entanglement. After 3 days, the pill poison in Yi Chen-feng's body was almost completely removed, and Heaven Plucker, who had fused with a large amount of pill poison, miraculously broke through to the 3-star Tao God realm. "Heaven Plunder, wait for me here with the Grim Reaper. I'll be back after selling the God Confusion Ancient Seal." Yi Chen-feng gently kissed Heaven Plunder's smooth forehead and said softly, "Ching-feng, why must you sell this ancient seal? Isn't it better to keep it for yourself?" Void God artifacts were rare in the Void God world. Moreover, the God Confusion Ancient Seal was an ultimate Void God artifact. Plundering Heaven asked in confusion, "Although the God Confusion Ancient Seal is precious, it isn't of much help to me. But if the big shots in God Confusion City can't take out something that I like, I won't trade for the God Confusion Ancient Seal at a low price." Yi Chen-feng explained, "Ching-feng, just what level have you cultivated to?" Heaven Plunderer asked curiously, "Great Circle of the Nihility God Realm." Yi Chen-feng did not hide anything and said frankly, "Great Circle of the Nihility God Realm." Heaven Plunder sucked in a breath of cold air. She couldn't figure out what Yi Chen-feng had experienced all these years and why his cultivation speed was so shocking. "All right, Heaven Plunder, it's getting late. I'll take my leave first. Cultivate well and strive to break through to the Ancestor Realm." Yi Chen-feng left Heaven Plunder with a precious chaos divine fruit and left the warm bedroom. Stepping on the sunset, he arrived at the center of the city. It was an antique building with a small bridge and flowing water outside. The scenery was elegant. "That person is here." The big shots in God Confusion City had arrived early. When they saw Yi Chen-feng outside the Heaven Immortal Tower, it instantly caused a commotion. Yi Chen-feng's expression didn't change as he felt the many pairs of eyes on him. He casually strolled to the top floor of the Heaven Immortal Tower. "City Lord Tuoba, I didn't expect you to be here too." Looking at the ashen-faced Tuoba Weihai who had recovered from his injuries, Yi Chen-feng revealed a faint smile. "If the Tuoba family sincerity can move me, I'm willing to exchange the God Confusion Ancient Seal with you. How about 10 Nihility Divine Pills in exchange for the God Confusion Ancient Seal?" The God Confusion Ancient Seal was extremely important to the Tuoba family. If it was lost, it would greatly affect the Tuoba family's overall strength. In order to redeem the God Confusion ancient seal, Tuoba Weihai had no choice but to take out 10 incomparably precious Nihility divine pills to trade with Yi Qinfeng. If it's 10 creation divine pills, I can consider it, but 10 Nihility divine pills is out of the question. Yi Qinfeng shook his head and rejected directly. Do you really want to become enemies with my Tuoba family? Tuoba Weihai spat out a mouthful of stuffy air. His eyes were spitting fire as he looked at Yi Qinfeng and gritted his teeth. If looks could kill, Yi Qinfeng would have been melted by the flames spewing out from Tuoba Weihai's eyes. Aren't we already enemies? Yi Qinfeng ignored Tuoba Weihai's furious gaze and said nonchalantly, cut the crap. If you can't show me your sincerity, I can only trade with someone else. Tuoba Weihai felt as though his lungs were about to explode from anger. However, his combat strength was far inferior to Yi Qinfeng's. He would only humiliate himself if he made a move blindly. Junior, what do you think of this item? A red-faced old man in a black robe stood beside Tuoba Weihai. He had a long white beard and was wearing a long black robe. He took out a brocade box that was sealed with layers of restrictions. When he broke the restrictions and opened the brocade box, a powerful dragon's aura spread out. What a terrifying dragon's aura! What's in that brocade box? Sensing the increasingly powerful dragon's aura, many people were fearful. Some people's legs went soft and they almost couldn't stand. The eye of the ancestral dragon. Yi Qinfeng glanced at the brocade box and found an extremely rare and precious eye of the ancestral dragon inside. The black-robed old man slowly said, "How about it? My Tuoba clan is willing to use 10 hollow spirit pills and this eye of the ancestral dragon to trade for the God Confusion ancient seal." Not interested. Not to mention that Yi Qinfeng had the eye of the ancestral dragon. Just its power alone couldn't compare to the God Confusion ancient seal. Yi Qinfeng shook his head and continued to refuse. Then what about these items? Seeing Yi Qinfeng refuse without any hesitation, Tuoba Weihai, the black-robed old man, and the others became even more unsightly. They communicated through voice transmissions and took out precious treasures one after another in order to redeem the God Confusion ancient seal. Sigh, this is the foundation of the #1 clan in the City of Confusion? This is too disappointing. Yi Qinfeng gently sighed and said, "If you can't take out treasures that can move me, then I can only trade with someone else." Every treasure that the Tuoba clan took out was amazing enough, but in the eyes of Yi Qinfeng, it was as if he was looking at trash. This made Tuoba Weihai and the others mistakenly believe that Yi Qinfeng was deliberately making things difficult for them. "Junior, although you are strong, my Tuoba clan is not so easy to bully. If you continue to provoke us, don't blame my Tuoba clan for using all our strength to annihilate you." The black-robed old man warned with a gloomy expression. "Let me give you a word of advice. I have always been merciful to your Tuoba clan. I hope that you will not be overbearing and provoke me. Otherwise, I will do whatever it takes to turn your Tuoba clan into a living hell." Yi Qinfeng ignored the black-robed old man's warning and coldly replied, "Also, your Tuoba clan has lost the right to redeem the God Confusion ancient seal. Next, it will be someone else's turn to trade with me." "You're courting death!" Yi Qinfeng's arrogance completely infuriated the black-robed old man. A towering rage erupted from his body. Just as he couldn't hold it in any longer and was about to attack, the creation's sword soul flew out of Yi Qinfeng's sea of soul. It hovered in the void and locked onto the black-robed old man. "If you don't want to die, then scram. Otherwise, I can guarantee that you won't see the sun tomorrow." Chapter 2154. Under Yi Qinfeng's terrifying battle prowess, the people of the Tuoba clan were much more well-behaved. No one dared to provoke them anymore, and the transaction continued. "Everyone, no matter who can take out a treasure that can move me, this God Confusion ancient seal will be his." Yi Qinfeng glanced at the various major characters in Bewildering City and announced loudly, "The God Confusion Ancient Seal was a good item and was known as the Tuoba clan's ultimate treasure. However, it was also a hot potato. No matter who obtained it, they would become the mortal enemy of the Tuoba clan. The Tuoba clan would definitely spare no expense to snatch it back." For a moment, all the major characters who came here were silent. No one made a bid. "Sir, I think you should be clear about our concerns. How can you guarantee that the God Confusion Ancient Seal won't be snatched back by the Tuoba clan?" At this moment, a low voice entered Yi Qinfeng's ears. "If you really have a treasure that can move me, I can stay in Bewildering City for half a year and leave after you guys have completely refined the God Confusion Ancient Seal." Yi Qinfeng pondered for a moment and said, this was also the greatest compromise he could make. "Humph, Junior, I advise you not to think about obtaining anything good from them. The God Confusion Ancient Seal is the ultimate treasure of my Tuoba clan. No one can change this fact." Tuoba Weihai coldly snorted as he looked at the silent crowd. "Sir, do you think these two items can be exchanged for the God Confusion Ancient Seal?" Just as the Heaven Immortal Tower sank into silence, a man in dark blue robes with a thick black beard and deep eyes suddenly spoke. "Wan Zhenyu, do you want to fight to the death with my Tuoba clan?" As the sound of Tuoba Weihai's voice faded, someone stood out to make a transaction with Yi Qinfeng. This action was undoubtedly a slap to his face, causing him to fly into a rage out of humiliation. "Wan clan, it seems like the rumors are true. The Tuoba clan and the Wan clan are like fire and water. There aren't many powers in Bewildering City that can take the God Confusion Ancient Seal, but the Wan clan is one of them." Looking at the middle-aged man who suddenly made a bid, many people recognized him. He was the Wan clan's patriarch, Wan Zhenyu. "Release the seal and let me see." Seeing a piece of deadwood and a fist-sized blood jade in Wan Zhenyu's hand, Yi Qinfeng's eyes brightened as he spoke. "All right." Wan Zhenyu nodded and released the two seals, allowing Yi Qinfeng to release his powerful soul force to sense the two treasures. An old branch of the ancient space tree. This is the creation's sword spirit. Yi Qinfeng was overjoyed. The two treasures that Wan Zhenyu had taken out were extremely important to him, especially the creation's sword spirit. If he could fuse the creation's sword spirit into the universal origin sword and let Mo or refine it, the universal origin sword would reach the level of a creation divine artifact, greatly increasing his battle prowess. According to Yi Qinfeng's senses, the ancient spatial tree branch in Wan Zhenyu's hand was also extraordinary. It contained the first 8 levels of the law of space. If he could comprehend it, it would greatly increase the defense of the 100 layers spatial seal. "All right, I can make the exchange." Compared to the ancient space tree branch and the sword spirit of creation, the ancient God Confusion Seal was of limited help to Yi Qinfeng. He did not hesitate to complete the deal with Wan Zhenyu. "Wan Zhenyu, you are very good." Tuoba Weihai gritted his teeth and said, "Tuoba Weihai, the Wan clan is my eternal friend. I hope you won't make a move against them. Otherwise, I swear that I will annihilate your Tuoba clan." Looking at the gloomy expression of Tuoba Weihai, Yi Qinfeng coldly warned, "Let's go." Tuoba Weihai took in a deep breath and suppressed the anger in his heart. He brought the Tuoba clan experts with him and left the Heaven Immortal Tower. Seeing the killing intent in Tuoba Weihai's eyes, Yi Qinfeng knew that his warning was ignored. However, Yi Qinfeng didn't mind. If the Tuoba clan didn't know what was good for them, Yi Qinfeng wouldn't mind wasting his energy to annihilate them. "Sir, I have a presumptuous request." Wan Zhenyu kept the ancient God Confusion Seal and said, "I would like to ask you to save someone." "Save who?" Yi Qinfeng frowned. "My daughter," Wan Zhenyu said. "She was injured by Tuoba Wanjian some time ago, and her life is in danger." "Sure." Yi Qinfeng nodded. "I will form a good karma with your Wan clan then." Let's go. We will go to your Wan clan now. After speaking, Yi Qinfeng followed Wan Zhenyu and the others and left the heaven immortal tower. The sky of confusion god city might change soon. Yeah, I wonder who will be the one laughing till the end. Staring at the departing backs of Yi Chen and the others, the major characters in Confusion God City started to discuss. They could smell the scent of war. Young Master Yi, may I know where you are from? On the way to the Wan clan, Wan Zhenyu learned of Yi Qinfeng's name. He was extremely curious about Yi Qinfeng's background. Kunlun, holy ground, Yi Qinfeng calmly replied. Then what is your relationship with the human emperor? The Kunlun holy ground was very famous in the void god world. After learning that Yi Qinfeng came from the Kunlun holy ground, Wan Zhenyu couldn't help but have a higher opinion of Yi Qinfeng. The human emperor is my elder brother. Yi Qinfeng spouted nonsense. It's true. Wan Zhenyu's heart shook. Yi Qinfeng nodded mysteriously. Because Yi Qinfeng's performance was too domineering, Wan Zhenyu believed him and became even more respectful towards him. Soon, Yi Qinfeng and the others arrived at the foot of the mountain. The environment was elegant, and the Wan clan's residence was enveloped by powerful restrictions. Master, it's not good. Ruoqing just vomited a lot of blood. The old ancestor is doing his best to extend her life, but the situation isn't good. Wan Zhenyu and the others had just returned to the Wan clan's residence when Wan Zhenyu's concubine hurriedly ran out and said anxiously, "Don't panic. As long as she's still breathing, I can save her." Yi Qinfeng had a large number of life spiritual items and the life elixir given to him by the god of life. No matter how serious the injury was, he could treat it. Then I'll leave everything to young Master Yi. Wan Zhenyu instructed and immediately brought Yi Qinfeng to the small courtyard where Wan Ruoqing was recuperating. They saw Wan Ruoqing lying on the wooden bed like a sleeping beauty and a white-haired old man with a ruddy complexion. Late-stage void god realm. Seeing the white-haired old man, Yi Qinfeng immediately recognized that he was a late-stage void god realm expert. With him overseeing the Wan clan and suppressing the ancestral bloodline, the Tuoba clan was indeed apprehensive. Old ancestor, this is young Master Yi who sold the God Confusion Ancient Seal. He has already sold the God Confusion Ancient Seal to our Wan clan and has agreed to treat Ruoqing. Wan Zhenyu introduced. Thank you, little friend. The God Confusion Ancient Seal was very important to the Wan clan. If the Wan clan completely refined the God Confusion Ancient Seal, they could use this treasure to resist the Tuoba clan. Senior is too polite. Yi Qinfeng smiled faintly and said neither arrogantly nor humbly. He came to the bedside, stretched out 3 fingers, and pressed them on Wan Ruoqing's white and tender wrist. He released a powerful soul force to examine her body. How is it, little friendy? How confident are you in curing Ruoqing? The white-haired old man asked in a low voice after Yi Qinfeng had finished examining Wan Ruoqing's body. 80% confident. Although Wan Ruoqing's life spirit was weak and could dissipate at any time, her meridians were severely damaged and her internal organs were ruptured. Yi Qinfeng still had the means to treat her. Really? Wan Zhenyu let out a long sigh of relief after hearing Yi Qinfeng's reply. All right, I'm going to start saving her now. However, I don't like people watching when I'm saving people. If you trust me, then hand her over to me. Yi Qinfeng said indifferently, I'll do my best to treat her. Young Master Yi, I'll leave everything to you. Chapter 2155. I'm sorry. After Wan Zhenyu and the others left, Yi Qinfeng immediately summoned the ancient ancestral banner and sealed off the entire room. Then he looked at the unconscious Wan Ruoqing and tore her clothes apart, revealing her body. Her skin was dull but flawless. Wan Ruoqing was known as one of the 10 beauties of the City of Confusion. Not only was she beautiful, but her figure was even better. Her sexy collarbone, Perky breasts, slender waist, and long, straight legs exuded an enchanting charm under the light that could instantly capture one's soul. Wan Ruoqing's life was at stake, but Yi Qinfeng had no time to admire her beautiful body. He gently picked her up and placed her in the bathtub. Then Yi Qinfeng took out a large amount of 10,000 years spiritual milk from the universe mirror and poured it into the bathtub to soak Wan Ruoqing's weak body. The powerful spirituality of the 10,000 years spiritual milk nourished her severely damaged meridians and slowly awakened her declining body's potential. Life origin spirit pearl merge. As the 10,000 years spirit milk entered Wan Ruoqing's body bit by bit, Yi Qinfeng cut open Wan Ruoqing's white cleavage and took out a life origin spirit pearl, embedding it between her breasts to further repair her body. Physical injuries were easy to heal, but Wan Ruoqing's weak life spirit was extremely difficult to repair. Even the life origin spirit pearl couldn't nourish her life spirit. However, Yi Qinfeng had the life pill refined by the god of life, which could completely repair her life spirit. No, her body is too weak. I have to stimulate her body's potential. Sensing the changes in Wan Ruoqing's body, Yi Qinfeng found that her body was too weak, and the speed at which she absorbed the life origin spirit pearl and 10,000 years spiritual milk was very slow. He immediately took out 108 silver needles and inserted them into 108 acupuncture points on her body to stimulate her body. And her body's potential is exhausted. Yi Qinfeng wanted to stimulate Wan Ruoqing's body's potential through acupuncture, but he found that her body's potential was almost exhausted due to the torture of death. He felt a little troubled. Alas, it seems that I can only use that method. Helpless, Yi Qinfeng took out a bottle of extremely strong aphrodisiac from the demon race, gently opened Wan Ruoqing's moist mouth, and fed her the entire bottle of aphrodisiac. The medicine was fed to her. Very soon, a layer of red appeared on Wan Ruoqing's skin. Her breathing became rapid, and there was a trace of pain between her brows. Her alluring body was like a spirit snake, gently twisting in the bathtub. As the medicinal effect took effect, Yi Qinfeng immediately released strands of divine power to bind Wan Ruoqing's body, not allowing her to move. He also sealed all the pores on her body, using the medicinal effect to awaken her overdrawn body's potential and increase the speed at which her corporeal body absorbed the life origin spirit bead and the 10,000 years spirit milk. Sad, sad, I'm so sad. With her body restrained and unable to move, Wan Ruoqing, who had a pained expression on her face, let out a seductive moan. Her coquettish expression made Yi Qinfeng's heart flutter involuntarily. Hang in there. It'll be fine as long as we get through this. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and suppressed his restless heart. He compressed his voice into a thin line and transmitted it into Wan Ruoqing's ears. Upon hearing Yi Qinfeng's voice, Wan Ruoqing, who was in unbearable pain, suddenly opened her eyes. When she saw Yi Qinfeng not far away, her beautiful eyes revealed shyness and anger. Who are you? What do you want? Wan Ruoqing spat out a few words with difficulty. When she discovered that she was naked in front of Yi Qinfeng, a trace of panic appeared in her heart. Don't be nervous, I'm saving you. Yi Qinfeng transmitted his voice. I'm feeding you sex. This medicine is just to awaken your declining body's potential. Really? When she saw Yi Qinfeng's clear eyes, she couldn't help but feel desire. Wan Ruoqing's heart calmed down a little. If I really wanted to do something to you, I wouldn't have to go through so much trouble. Yi Qinfeng said indifferently. If you dare to hurt me, my Wan family will make sure you die without a burial ground. Wan Ruoqing bit her lip and warned him with difficulty. Then she closed her eyes and bit her lip. She tried her best to hold on until she was on the verge of collapse. However, her body's potential was being awakened little by little under the stimulation of the powerful medicine. Raging flames burned in her body as if they wanted to melt her. Come, open your mouth. Suddenly, Yi Qinfeng's voice sounded in Wan Ruoqing's ears. She instinctively opened her bloody mouth. Whoosh! Yi Qinfeng gently flicked his finger and sent a pill of life into her mouth. He borrowed the powerful life origin energy to repair her soul that was about to shatter. Please, please help me. I'm in pain. I can't take it anymore. As Wan Ruoqing's injuries slowly healed, she, who was on the verge of collapse, opened her eyes once more. Then, she looked at the nearby Yi Qinfeng in shame. At this time, Wan Ruoqing only wanted to vent the flames in her body. If it weren't for her body being restrained, she would have already thrown herself at Yi Qinfeng like a madwoman. I can't help you. If you can't overcome this crisis, not only will you not be able to recover, but you won't be able to step into the ancestor realm in the future. Although Wan Ruoqing was very beautiful and her current posture was seductive, causing one's imagination to run wild, Yi Qinfeng suppressed the flames in his heart. He looked at her tender and beautiful face that seemed as if blood would drip out at any moment. After he finished speaking, Yi Qinfeng sat down cross-legged on the ground. He ignored Wan Ruoqing's cries and waited in silence. Time slowly passed. After what seemed like years, Wan Ruoqing, who was on the verge of collapse, finally made it through the most difficult moment. The potential of her body was completely stimulated. All of a sudden, all of her meridians and damaged internal organs were completely restored under the nourishment of the 10,000-year spirit milk and life essence. All right, I'll now force out the remnant medicinal energy in your body. When the time comes, you only need to refine the pill of life and your fate soul will be restored. You'll also be able to return to normal. After saying this, Yi Qinfeng walked behind Wan Ruoqing and gently placed his right hand on her smooth back. Feeling Yi Qinfeng's powerful hand, Wan Ruoqing couldn't help but seduce Wan Ruoqing. The dazed Wan Ruoqing couldn't help but let out a seductive voice. The bashful scene made her want to find a hole to hide in. Yi Qinfeng's heart swayed even more. Taking a deep breath, Yi Qinfeng eliminated all distracting thoughts and forced out the remnant medicinal energy in her body to undo the seal. Wan Ruoqing's body went limp and she collapsed into the bathtub like a pile of mud. Her rosy lips opened slightly as she breathed out heavy breaths. Let's go, I'll carry you to the bed. Yi Qinfeng ignored Wan Ruoqing's protests and carried her out of the bathtub. She was completely naked and without a trace of strength. Being carried naked by Yi Qinfeng, Wan Ruoqing instinctively placed her hands on her sensitive parts. Her heart was in turmoil and fiercely beating. A mesmerizing blush crept up her body. While her thoughts were running wild, Yi Qinfeng placed her on the soft bed and covered her with a blanket. Yi Qinfeng looked at Wan Ruoqing, who only had her head exposed, and slowly said, "You should rest well. Your fate soul will be restored in a month at the latest. You wait." Just as Yi Qinfeng turned to leave, Wan Ruoqing, whose face was as red as an apple, suddenly grabbed Yi Qinfeng's arm and whispered, "Who the hell are you?" "I am someone your father found to save you," Yi Qinfeng indifferently replied while looking at the blushing Wan Ruoqing with a complicated gaze. "Then, can you keep today's secret?" Wan Ruoqing looked into Yi Qinfeng's clear eyes and gently bit her lips. "I was saving you earlier, and I'm not a blabbermouth. I won't tell a third party," Yi Qinfeng softly promised. Thank you." Although Yi Qinfeng had seen her naked body and held her in his arms, Wan Ruoqing was not angry. She gently bit her lips while looking at Yi Qinfeng's handsome face and whispered, "Rest." Chapter 2156. Young Master Yi, how is my daughter? Wan Zhenyu and the others, who had been patiently waiting outside, immediately went up to Yi Qinfeng and asked with concern when they saw him push open the door. "Don't worry, your daughter's injuries are no longer serious. She will recover in, at most, a month," Yi Qinfeng said softly. Thank you, young Master Yi. I really don't know how to repay your kindness to my Wan clan." After knowing that Wan Ruoqing was fine, Wan Zhenyu's heart finally relaxed. He thanked Yi Qinfeng from the bottom of his heart. If your Wan clan really wants to repay me, help me find a person. Yi Qinfeng took out the portrait of Shunjuti and said, "This is old ghost." Looking at the portrait in Yi Qinfeng's hand, the Wan clan ancestor raised his eyebrows slightly and said softly, "Senior, do you know this person?" Yi Qinfeng looked at the Wan clan ancestor and asked, "This person is somewhat similar to the old ghost in the flower alley of the South City, but I can't be sure if they're the same person. Senior, can you tell me the location of the flower alley of the South City? I'll go take a look." Yi Qinfeng said, "Sure, but this old ghost has a strange temper and is lustful. You must be careful when you go there. Don't provoke him." The Wan clan ancestor said, "Why, is this old ghost very strong?" Yi Qinfeng's heart skipped a beat. "Very strong." The Wan clan ancestor nodded and said, 10,000 years ago, the Tuoba clan had a bad relationship with him because of a woman. However, the two ancestors of the Wan clan were unable to do anything to him. In the end, they even forced the Tuoba clan to apologize. That matter has become a stain on the Tuoba clan's history. However, after that incident, the old ghost rarely went out and was gradually forgotten by people. Old ghost Shenjiudi. After hearing the Wan clan ancestor's explanation, Yi Qinfeng was basically sure that the old ghost was the Shenjiudi he was looking for. "All right, everyone, I will return first. I will stay in the City of Confusion for about half a year. If the Tuoba family dares to make a move against you during this period of time, I will do my best to help." With that, Yi Qinfeng left the Wan residence and returned to the lakeside villa to find the Grim Reaper. "Grim Reaper, we have news of your master." "Really? Where is my master?" the Grim Reaper asked excitedly. "If the Wan family's information is accurate, your master should be at Flower Alley in South City." Yi Qinfeng said, "Tomorrow morning we'll go look for him." The night passed quickly. The next morning, Yi Qinfeng teleported the Heaven Plucker that was cultivating into the universe realm and headed to the Flower Alley in the South City with Grim Reaper. Although it was early in the morning, there were still many women wearing thin clothes walking in and out of the flower lane of the South City. They would flirt with the pedestrians from time to time. "It's here." Walking into the depths of the Flower Alley, Yi Qinfeng found a shabby shop that sold some herbs and spiritual materials. According to the Wan clan ancestor, the old ghost was hiding in the shop. "Dear guests, may I know what you would like to buy?" When Yi Qinfeng and the Grim Reaper walked into the deserted shop, a voluptuous woman in a pink dress with heavy makeup on her face stood up slowly. She sized up Yi Qinfeng and the Grim Reaper and asked, "We are here to look for the old ghost." Yi Qinfeng went straight to the point. "The old ghost is already dead. If you want to see him, go to the mass graves in West City." After knowing the purpose of Yi Qinfeng and the Grim Reaper, the woman with heavy makeup said coldly, "I can already feel his aura. He is behind us." With that, Yi Qinfeng and the Grim Reaper walked to the back hall. "Hold on, what do you want? If you dare to act recklessly, don't blame this old lady for being impolite." The woman with heavy makeup spread her arms and pointed her voluptuous breasts at Yi Qinfeng as she fiercely warned, "Although a 4-star ancestor realm expert is extraordinary, he is still no threat to us." Yi Qinfeng said indifferently. He released a strand of divine power and bound the woman's body. "Save me! Someone wants to be strong. Rape me! Someone save me!" With her body bound, the woman with heavy makeup immediately shouted at the top of her lungs. But just as she shouted, Yi Qinfeng, whose face was full of black lines, sealed her throat, making it impossible for her to make a single sound. After controlling the woman with heavy makeup, Yi Qinfeng and the Grim Reaper passed through the back hall and a layer of restriction. They came to the back hall, which was picturesque like a fairyland. They saw an old man in a gray robe, sitting on a bamboo chair and fishing with a fishing rod in his hand. Behind the old man, there were two beautiful women in white tulle dresses. Their skin was as smooth as milk, and their figures were graceful. They were gently massaging the old man's body. Looking at the old man in front of him, the Grim Reaper was shocked. He immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed to the old man 18 times. The unfilial disciple, the Grim Reaper, pays his respects to Master. Looking at the Grim Reaper kneeling on the ground, the two massaging women were surprised and looked at Yi Chin Fong and the Grim Reaper. The old man seemed to have not heard the Grim Reaper's words and was still fishing calmly. "Senior Shinjuti, you are in a good mood." After confirming that the old man in front of him was Shinjuti, who was at the peak of the empty god realm, several thoughts flashed through Yi Chinfeng's mind as he slowly walked over. "Do you know how to fish?" Looking at Yi Chinfeng, who was walking to his side, Shinjuti looked at the pond in silence and asked, "I know a thing or two." Yi Chinfeng looked at the pond and realized that the fish in the pond were different from those outside. They all had the body of a beauty and the tail of a fish. They looked charming and were about an inch-long mermaids. Shen Judy took out a fishing rod without a hook from his Chien Kun ring and handed it to Yi Chinfeng. "Come, I will give you a fishing rod. If you can catch a mermaid, we will talk about the purpose of your visit. If you can't, you can go back to where you came from." "All right." Yi Chinfeng nodded his head and took the fishing rod. He placed the fishing line into the pond and closed his eyes to sense it. Shinjuti did not say anything, and the Grim Reaper, who was kneeling on the ground, did not get up. This is... When the fishing line entered the pond, Yi Chinfeng suddenly realized that the pond had turned into a stormy ocean. Many attractive beauties had turned into ferocious beasts. They opened their bloody mouths and tried to bite Yi Chinfeng. Realm. Yi Chinfeng's heart skipped a beat. He was sure that the pond in front of him was formed by Shinjuti's realm. For the realm to evolve to such a state, it showed how powerful Shinjuti was. Ferocious realm, sword realm. Yi Chinfeng took a deep breath and controlled the power of the two realms through the fishing rod. They merged into Shinjuti's realm and turned into a huge net. He wanted to trap the ferocious beasts one by one. However, every time the two realms caught the ferocious beasts, they would be broken by Shinjuti's realm, and Yi Chinfeng was unable to catch any fish. Time stop. Despite his repeated failures, Yi Chinfeng was not in a hurry. He had been waiting for this opportunity. Finally, when he controlled the power of the two realms to trap the 4 ferocious beasts, he suddenly stopped time and affected Shinjuti's realm. Although Shinjuti's power was able to break the time stop in an instant, Yi Chinfeng made use of this opportunity to catch a mermaid. Chapter 2157. Senior, is this considered a success? Yi Chinfeng turned his head to look at Shinjuti and asked, "Less than 10,000 years of cultivation, mastering 2 realms, time stop rules of order, great circle of empty god realm. Since when did the empty god realm have such a genius like you?" Shinjuti put down the fishing rod in his hand and turned his head to look at Yi Chinfeng. "Senior, you have been in seclusion for too long. You should go out and take a look. This world is different from the ancient times." Yi Chinfeng said, "Seems like you are here to invite me out." Shinjuti understood the meaning behind Yi Chinfeng's words and said, Death God, and I want you to come out and help us fight against Shen Huang." Yi Chinfeng nodded and said, "What do you think? Fight against Shen Huang? Just the 2 of you?" Shinjuti's eyes were filled with disdain. "Death God and I are indeed not Shen Huang's match. However, we have gathered all the forces that can fight against Shen Huang." Yi Chinfeng continued, "The ancient Star Road is about to appear. Senior, don't you want to go there and fight for the chance to become a god? Are you done?" After listening to Yi Chinfeng, Shen Huang was not moved. Yi Chinfeng nodded and said, "On account of my unfilial disciple, I will not make things difficult for you. You may leave." Shinjuti said coldly, "Senior, do you really want to be in seclusion for the rest of your life?" Yi Chenfeng frowned slightly. "Shinjiodi is dead. There is only old ghost left in this world." Shenjiodi said emotionlessly, "The ancient star road has appeared. Are you not going to try your luck?" Yi Chenfeng did not give up and continued to ask. "You don't have to worry about that." Shenjiodi said, "All right, I have to continue fishing. You may leave." "Sai, before I came, my father told me that if you are willing to come out, he is willing to give you a heaven and earth creation fruit." Yi Chenfeng stood up slowly and sighed. Heaven and earth creation fruit. Shen Jiodi's deep eyes shot out rays of light. Other than the heaven and earth creation fruit, Junior also has a bit of mysterious heaven divine marrow. Yi Chenfeng continued to say as he caught the gleam in Shen Jiodi's eyes. Mysterious heaven divine marrow. Shen Jiodi's breathing became heavier. No matter if it was the heaven and earth fortune fruit or the mysterious sky divine marrow, they were all incomparably precious items. They were almost extinct in the void God world and were very difficult to find. To Shen Jiodi, who was nearing the end of his lifespan, they were extremely important. "Well, in addition to these two items, I can also ask for a divine creation pill for you." Yi Chenfeng nodded. Divine creation pill. Shen Jiodi's wrist shook slightly, and the fishing rod in his hand turned into ashes. The divine fortune pill was an ultimate pill that surpassed the void spirit pill. Although the divine creation pill was most useful to the great empty God realm and could allow them to step into the peak of the empty God realm, it was equally effective to the peak of the empty God realm. Moreover, to people like Shen Jiodi who had one foot in the extreme empty God realm, it was a fatal temptation. Who has the divine creation pill? Shen Jiodi's deep eyes shot out rays of light as he locked onto Yi Chenfeng and asked loudly, "My father, Yi Chenfeng." Yi Chenfeng said, "Your father is Yi Chenfeng." After knowing Yi Chenfeng's identity, Shen Jiodi revealed a surprised expression. "Well, if Senior is willing to go back with us, I promise to ask for a divine creation pill for you." Yi Chenfeng nodded and promised. "How about this? Death God will stay, and you go back first. I will give you an answer within 3 days." Shen Jiodi thought for a while and could not resist the temptation of the divine creation pill. "All right." Yi Chenfeng nodded and did not stay for long. He left alone and returned to the lakeside residence. Unexpectedly, he saw someone. "Why are you here?" Looking at Wan Ruoqing, who was wearing a white floral dress, with skin as smooth as milk and an elegant temperament, Yi Chenfeng revealed a faint smile. "What, you don't want to see me? Or are you hiding a beauty and don't want me to know?" Wan Ruoqing looked at Yi Chenfeng with a complicated gaze and said coldly, "Come in." Yi Chenfeng shook his head. He brought the beautiful Wan Ruoqing to the courtyard and sat under an ancient tree that would take several people to wrap their arms around it. Then he fetched a pot of immortal tea. "Why are you looking for me?" Yi Chenfeng poured a cup of immortal tea, overflowing with spiritual energy, for Wan Ruoqing, and asked softly, "I want to know who you are." Wan Ruoqing opened her red lips slightly and took a sip of the immortal tea. Her eyes sparkled as she looked at Yi Chenfeng. Yi Chenfeng met her big eyes and slowly said, "I am only a passerby by the city of confusion." Wan Ruoqing gently bit her lips and asked Yi Chenfeng, "Then will you stay for me?" "We are only strangers who met by chance, and we are destined to leave." Yi Chenfeng shook his head. But you saw me naked and touched me." Wan Ruoqing bit her lips and said in a lovely manner, "Don't tell me you want to be irresponsible. I only did that to save you, that's all." He looked at Wan Ruoqing's pretty face and continued, "Moreover, I will keep that matter to myself and won't tell anyone. You disappoint me too much." Wan Ruoqing's heart was filled with grievances after seeing Yi Chenfeng's cold eyes. Her eyes were brimming with tears. Just as the situation was about to settle down, Yi Qinfeng's powerful soul power suddenly sensed an abnormality. He stood up and grabbed Wan Ruoqing's soft hand. Didn't you reject me? Why are you grabbing me? Wan Ruoqing's face was slightly red as she resisted. Your Wan clan is in trouble. Yi Qinfeng said with a gloomy expression. Come, follow me to kill. With that, Yi Qinfeng took Wan Ruoqing's soft body into his arms and flew towards the Wan clan estate at an extremely fast speed. Wan Yuanming, Wan Zhenyu, my patience is limited. If you don't want anything to happen to the Wan clan, hand over the God Confusion ancient seal. Otherwise, this god swears to destroy your Wan clan. Tuoba Weihai, who was wearing a black robe and exuding a strong murderous aura, spoke arrogantly as he looked down at the Wan clan mansion shrouded in restrictions. Behind Tuoba Weihai stood 5 powerful empty god realm masters. 2 of them had even reached the late empty god realm. The Tuoba clan had sent out 6 empty god realm masters at once, shocking the entire God Confusion city. It made the other clans feel that a storm was brewing, and it made the Wan clan feel immense pressure. Although the Wan clan had old ancestor Wan Yuanming and could challenge the Tuoba clan in terms of foundation and overall strength, the Wan clan was far inferior to the Tuoba clan. If the Tuoba clan went all out, the Wan clan would not be able to withstand it. What should we do, family head? Should we fight? All the powerful figures of Wan clan turned their eyes to Wan Zhenyu, who had a solemn look on his face. Don't panic. Defend with all your strength. I think there will be someone who will solve this problem for us. Thinking of the mysterious Yi Qinfeng, Wan Zhenyu could only place all his hopes on him. He prayed that he could reverse the situation and deal a heavy blow to the Tuoba clan, giving the Wan clan time to rise again. Rumble. As he spoke, Tuoba Weihai, who had lost his patience, made his move. He slapped down with his palm, and surging dowel surged out from all directions. It transformed into a giant hand that covered the sky, and it fiercely smashed onto the formation that enveloped the Wan estate. The terrifying force shook the entire formation, causing it to tremble. Is the Wan clan finished? Chapter 2158. You're finally here. Seeing Yi Qinfeng's sudden appearance, Tuoba Weihai stopped attacking and looked at him coldly. Go to the Wan family mansion and wait for me. Yi Qinfeng patted Wan Ruoqing's head gently and said to her telepathically, But you, Wan Ruoqing grabbed Yi Qinfeng's arm tightly and said worriedly, Don't worry, I can kill empty gods like I'm killing chickens. Yi Qinfeng said arrogantly. He exerted some force in his right arm and was about to send Wan Ruoqing to the Wan family mansion. Suddenly, a middle empty god appeared beside Wan Ruoqing, who was flying toward the Wan family mansion. He wanted to capture her to threaten Yi Qinfeng. You're courting death. The Void God Realm expert was extremely fast, but Yi Qinfeng's reaction was even faster. Time stop. Suddenly, Yi Qinfeng stopped time and froze this mid-stage nihility god expert in midair, unable to move. Then, Yi Qinfeng's huge hand, which was filled with hundreds of billions of pounds of force, smashed the middle empty god's head. The terrifying force shattered his head and crushed his soul, killing him on the spot. What? Witnessing the scene of Yi Qinfeng shattering a mid-level virtual god's head with a single palm strike, Tuoba Weihai and the rest were astounded. As for the experts of the various major powers who were hiding in the dark, they were also shocked by Yi Qinfeng's shocking strength. Mr. Yi, do you need help? Wan Zhenyu and the rest were relieved when they saw what had happened. He caught Wan Ruoqing and was ready to fight alongside Yi Qinfeng. They're just a bunch of weaklings. I can handle them alone. Yi Qinfeng shook his head and said arrogantly, Young man, I don't care who you are. I'll make sure you die a horrible death today. One of the Tuoba family patriarchs glared at Yi Qinfeng fiercely and said coldly. With that, the huge formation that enveloped the lost god city appeared. A large number of formation runes fell like a waterfall, wildly merging with the 5 virtual gods like Tuoba Weihai and rapidly increasing their battle prowess. In the blink of an eye, the combat strength of the 2 patriarchs of the Tuoba family had reached the perfect empty god realm. Tuoba Weihai and the other 2 patriarchs also possessed the combat strength of the advanced empty god realm. The terrifying aura suppressed the heavens, making it difficult for the onlookers to breathe. The Tuoba family is worthy of being the number 1 family in the City of Confusion. Their foundation is too terrifying. Yeah, that kid is dead for sure. Not only will that brat die, I'm afraid that after today, the Wan clan won't have a place to stay in the City of Confusion. Sensing the rising auras of Tuoba Weihai and the others, almost no one thought highly of Yi Qinfeng, much less the Wan clan. Old ancestor, father, young master Yi is in danger. Quickly help him fend off the enemy. Wan Ruoqing shook Wan Yuanming's arm with all her might and begged bitterly, "There's no rush." Looking at Yi Qinfeng's calm face, Wan Yuanming shook his head. He wanted to know how powerful Yi Qinfeng was. If we were in the governor's mansion, I might have some scruples. However, outside, no matter how powerful you are, it's useless. Looking at Tuoba Weihai and the others, whose combat strength had soared to the maximum, Yi Qinfeng smiled. He burned his Hong Meng blood, merged his chaotic celestial body and God's heart, and raised his combat strength to the peak of the empty God realm. He directly crushed the aura released by Tuoba Weihai and the others. What perfect empty God realm! Feeling Yi Qinfeng's overwhelming aura, Tuoba Weihai's ferocious expression froze, revealing a look of disbelief. "All right, all of you attack together. After dealing with all of you, I'm going back to sleep." With a thought, Yi Qinfeng summoned the universal sword. He pointed at the solemn-looking Tuoba Weihai and the others and said arrogantly, "Set up the formation." Feeling the threat from Yi Qinfeng, Tuoba Weihai and the other 4 did not dare to be careless. They quickly set up the formation and wanted to use the power of the formation to fight against Yi Qinfeng. "Is there any use in setting up the formation?" Yi Qinfeng sneered. Instantly, he raised his physical strength to the maximum. He held the universal sword and stabbed at Tuoba Weihai and the others. Rumble! As Yi Qinfeng stabbed at them, the formation that Tuoba Weihai and the other 4 had set up was activated. Instantly, the 5 of them combined their strength and turned into roaring waves. They bombarded Yi Qinfeng, trying to destroy him. 3,000 transformation God Fist! As the waves rolled across the sky, Yi Qinfeng immediately threw out 3,000 invincible God Fists. Like a meteor shower, they instantly shattered the waves and bombarded Tuoba Weihai and the others. Boom! The space in front of Tuoba Weihai and the others shook. Although the 5 of them had used the power of the formation to block off the remaining power of the 3,000 transformation God Fist, they were still shaken to the point where their blood was in turmoil. Damn it! How can his combat strength be so terrifying? Don't get distracted. Fight with all your strength. Although Yi Qinfeng's combat strength had surprised Tuoba Weihai and the others, they knew that they had no way out. If they could not defeat Yi Qinfeng, what awaited them would be destruction. Buzz! Buzz! The 5 of them moved their minds and opened up their powerful domains at the same time. They stacked their 5 domains together and wanted to use the power of their domains to fight against Yi Qinfeng. Primitive Fist. The instant Tuoba Weihai and the other 4 unleashed their domains, Yi Qinfeng fused with the desolate domain, increasing his strength to close to 300 trillion Jin. He punched out with a tyrannical fist, shattering the entire space and smashing towards the domains unleashed by the 5. When Yi Qinfeng's punch came, the 5 of them immediately controlled their respective domains to receive it. Boom! 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 The power of the 6 domains collided in the void. The explosive power instantly tore the entire space apart, causing a large area of space to collapse and turn into nothingness. Ancestral swords. When the 6 domains clashed fiercely, Yi Chen Feng merged with the sword realm and pushed the power of sword principle to the extreme. He formed tens of thousands of invincible divine swords and slashed at Tuoba Wei Hai and the others to suppress them. Impressive. Young Master Ye's combat strength is really impressive. You are able to suppress Tuoba Wei Hai and the other 4 by yourself. No wonder you are the younger brother of the human emperor. Wan Zhenyu shook his head and exclaimed, "He is the younger brother of the human emperor." Wan Yuanming and the others exclaimed in surprise, "It should be true." Wan Zhenyu nodded and said without a doubt. However, he did not know that Yi Chen Feng was just making things up. Infinite chaos, destruction of gods, tribulation of gods. Facing Tuoba Wei Hai and the others, Yi Chen Feng did not show any mercy. He continued to use his powerful killing moves to attack them. As a result, they were forced to retreat and cracks appeared on the huge array formation. If it was not for the continuous supply of energy from the empty space array formation, Tuoba Wei Hai and the others would not have been able to hold on. Just as Tuoba Wei Hai and the others were pushed back tens of thousands of meters by Yi Chen Feng's ferocious attacks, the blood in their bodies churned and blood flowed out of their mouths. Yi Chen Feng used 3 super skills to attack them. Boom! With one blow, the empty space array formation that the 5 of them had set up shattered. The power of the 3 super skills shattered the domains that the 5 of them had set up and hit their bodies hard. Bang! Bang! The 2 empty God Realm Masters could not withstand the attack of the 3 supreme superpowers. Their bodies directly exploded, turning into clouds of blood mist in the air. Their souls were also shattered by the powerful aftershocks. They died on the spot. Although Tuoba Wei Hai and the 2 elders of the Tuoba family had withstood the 3 super skills, they were still severely injured. They fell in Confusion City and destroyed many buildings. Chapter 2159. Next, it's the 3 of you. After killing the 2 of them, Yi Chen Feng's cold eyes swept over the injured Tuoba Wei Hai and the other 2 with killing intent. Wait, I think today's matter is a misunderstanding. Faced with Yi Chen Feng, who possessed extraordinary strength and could not be defeated, Tuoba Wei Hai shouted, wanting to retreat in his heart. Misunderstanding? Isn't it too late to say that now? Yi Chen Feng snorted coldly and said, "Fight like a man." The creation sword spirit flew out from Yi Chen Feng's sea of soul and formed an invincible giant sword. The sword split the void and slashed towards Tuoba Wei Hai. When the fortune sword soul attacked, Tuoba Wei Hai and the other 2 immediately controlled their 3 void god artifacts to defend against it. However, the might of the creation sword soul surpassed the void god artifacts. With just 1 sword strike, the 3 void god artifacts were sent flying. The terrifying sword might made Tuoba Wei Hai and the other 2 feel a strong sense of danger. They kept on displaying their trump cards to defend themselves. Ancestral swords, Desolation Fist, Limitless Chaos. After the creation sword spirit forced the 3 of them back, Yi Chen Feng continued to attack the 3 of them with powerful killing moves. He was determined to kill them. Unable to defend against Yi Chen Feng's ferocious attacks, Tuoba Wei Hai and the other 2 immediately opened up their powerful domains to defend against Yi Chen Feng's supreme divine ability. However, Yi Chen Feng's battle prowess far surpassed the 3 of them. In an instant, the 3 of them opened up their domains and were blasted apart by Yi Chen Feng. The terrifying supreme force continued to push the 3 of them back, causing them to spurt out blood. Who is that person? Why is his battle prowess so shocking? Yeah, he's so young, and yet he has such battle prowess. He must be very famous in the Void God world. Sai, the Tuoba family has kicked an iron plate this time. If Tuoba Wei Hai and the other 2 are killed, the situation in Bewitching God City will change. The scene before their eyes had far exceeded the imagination of everyone in the City of Confusion. As they watched Tuoba Wei Hai's group of 3 retreating in defeat, everyone was completely stunned by Yi Qinfeng's strength. Bewildering God diagram, kill the enemy. As his injuries worsened, the ancestor of the Tuoba family gritted his teeth and ignited all the blood in his body at all costs. He quickly flew toward the huge formation that was suspended in the air. Flying under the array diagram, ancestor Tuoba suddenly detonated his body. He controlled the majestic power of blood and qi to wildly fuse into the array diagram, amplifying the power of the array diagram and launching a fatal attack at Yi Qinfeng. Rumble. After fusing with Patriarch Tuoba's blood and qi, the bewitching god diagram turned crimson red. A large number of runes were like ferocious dragons that had been born. They entered the diagram and roared as they attacked Yi Qinfeng. Break! Yi Qinfeng didn't even try to dodge as he punched out divine fists, shattering the formation dragons and clashing head-on with the art of confusion. Kill! Seizing the opportunity when Yi Qinfeng was clashing head-on with the art of confusion, Tuoba Wei Hai and Tuoba Wei Hai ignited the power of their blood and controlled their strongest void god artifact to attack Yi Qinfeng. They wanted to take this opportunity to severely injure him. Ka! Just as Yi Qinfeng was being attacked by Tuoba Wei Hai and Tuoba Wei Hai, the art of confusion that enveloped the City of Confusion shook violently. Huge cracks spread across the surface of the art of seeking the truth. Why did the art of confusion shatter? Gosh, what happened this time? Seeing the art of confusion suddenly shattering, everyone present was stunned. They didn't dare to imagine that someone could force the art of confusion back. Even Tuoba Wei Hai and Tuoba Wei Hai revealed a rare look of fear as a strong sense of uneasiness rose in their hearts. Boom! Just as everyone was attracted by the shattering of the art of confusion, the huge art of confusion trembled again. Countless cracks spread across the art of confusion, and it shattered. As the art of confusion shattered, 2 proud figures appeared in the void. When Yi Qinfeng saw the tall old man in a long black robe, he couldn't help but reveal a faint smile. Senior, you have finally thought it through, and are willing to come out of seclusion. Remember your promise. I won't let you off if you miss anything. Shen Ju Di looked arrogantly at Yi Qinfeng and warned him coldly. Don't worry, Senior. I won't miss anything that I promised you. Yi Qinfeng guaranteed. Let's go. Seeing Shen Jiu Di shatter the art of confusion, Tuoba Wei Hai and Tuoba Wei Hai sensed a strong sense of danger. They didn't dare to stay any longer and wanted to escape back to the Tuoba family. They wanted to borrow the power of the ancestral bloodline to fight against Yi Qinfeng and the rest. Do you still want to escape in front of me? Shen Jiu Di took a step forward and tens of thousands of Dao patterns appeared under his feet. He restricted the entire space and trapped Tuoba Wei Hai and Tuoba Wei Hai like a prison. Your Excellency, the Tuoba family has no intention to be enemies with you. If you are willing to let us off, I promise that wherever you are, the Tuoba family will retreat. Seeing the Dao patterns that sealed the void, Tuoba Wei Hai and Tuoba Wei Hai's faces changed. They had no choice but to lower their status and speak softly. Not interested. Shen Jiu Di said coldly. He clawed the void and the area around Tuoba Wei Hai and Tuoba Wei Hai instantly became a vacuum. A terrifying power kept squeezing their bodies and breaking their defenses. Kacha! Following the sound of bones breaking, Tuoba Wei Hai and Tuoba Wei Hai's bodies were deformed by Shen Jiu Di's claw. Immense pain instantly spread throughout their bodies, and they were in so much pain that they wanted to die. Wait. As long as you spare our lives, we are willing to agree to any of your conditions. With their lives hanging by a thread, Tuoba Wei Hai and Tuoba Wei Hai gave in and begged softly. After killing you, everything in the Tuoba family will belong to I. Shen Jiu Di said domineeringly. I still have to negotiate with you. As he spoke, Shinjiodi's right hand continued to exert strength. The immense power crushed their bodies and souls, killing them on the spot. Junior, I am going to rob the Tuoba family. Tomorrow morning, we will meet outside the city. Shinjiodi took away Tuoba Weihai and Tuoba Weihai's belongings and brought the Grim Reaper to the Tuoba family. Thank you, young Master Yi, for saving our lives. The Wan family will never forget your kindness. Seeing Yi Qinfeng land in the Wan family residence, Wan Zhenyu immediately deactivated the array restriction. He led a group of Wan family experts and bowed respectfully to express his gratitude. Wan family head, you are too courteous. Yi Qinfeng smiled and said, Tomorrow morning I will be leaving. I hope that the Wan family can manage the Lost God City well. Don't worry, young Master Yi. I promise that the Lost God City will be even more glorious under the management of the Wan family. Wan Zhenyu nodded and promised. You are really leaving? Wan Ruoqing looked at Yi Qinfeng with a complicated expression. The scene of Yi Qinfeng showing off his invincible might was deeply imprinted in her mind, and she could not forget it. I came here to look for that senior. Now that I have found him, I will be leaving. Yi Qinfeng nodded and said, But when I have time, I will come back to see all of you. After that, Yi Qinfeng did not stay in the Wan family residence for long. He bade farewell to everyone and returned to the lakeside residence. He then summoned Diablo. Diablo, we will be leaving the Lost God City tomorrow. Do you have any unfinished business? Yi Qinfeng asked softly. I want to pay respects to Master and bid farewell to her. Diablo looked at Yi Qinfeng with a complicated expression and said while biting his lips, All right, I will go with you. Yi Qinfeng said, No, I want to pay respects to Master myself and talk to her. Diablo shook his head and said, Qinfeng, can you wait for me here? I will be back soon. All right, then go and come back early. Yi Qinfeng did not insist and gave Diablo a few protective items. Diablo stood on his tiptoes and gently kissed Yi Qinfeng's mouth before leaving the lakeside residence in the night. The night passed quickly. Yi Qinfeng, who had been cultivating for an entire night, was suddenly awakened by a series of knocks on the door. When he opened the courtyard door, he saw a girl who looked like a porcelain doll appear outside the door. Moreover, she was holding a jade slip in her hand. When Yi Qinfeng released his soul into the jade slip, his heart was empty. Diablo left in the end. Yi Qinfeng sighed softly. He did not expect Diablo to leave without saying goodbye. Sigh, perhaps she will come back when she can accept everything. Chapter 2160. Long time no see, 9 Thearchs. When Yi Qinfeng's group returned to the Kunlun Holy Grounds, Sancha God, Shin Daoshu, Shin Hingu, and the rest walked out from the Kunlun Holy Grounds. Zhui Ri, Dao Su, Ancient Eternity, you're still alive. Even though Shun Jyoti had betrayed the Shun clan back then, the blood of the Shin clan still flowed in his body. Adding on the fact that the Shin clan had already been exterminated, his grudge with the Shin clan had long turned to smoke. Now that he saw chasing Sun God and the others, there was an indescribable excitement in the depths of his heart. Yes, our luck is not bad. We managed to survive the calamity of the god race. The chasing Sun God nodded and said, 9 Thearchs, now that Shin Huang is about to be born, let us fight side by side and avenge the Shin clan. Zhui Ri, you participated in the calamity of the divine race, so you should know how terrifying Shin Huang is. Even the divine emperor was not his match back then. How can you and I talk about taking revenge for the divine race? Shin Ju Di shook his head. 9 Thearchs, you may not know this, but Wuji has already refined the heaven-seizing supreme pill and is now in seclusion to break through to the extreme state of the empty god realm. Once he breaks through, with our combined strength, we will have a chance to avenge the divine tribe. Sun, chasing God, said, Heaven seizing divine pill. Shin Judy's eyes lit up. That means that the nature Dan was also refined by Yi Wuji. That's right, the nature Dan and the heaven-seizing Dan were both refined by my father. Yi Qinfeng nodded and took out a Qian Kun ring. He handed it to Shen Judy and said, "Senior Judy, these are the 3 treasures I promised you. Keep them well. All right, since your father has the hope of achieving virtual God peak, then I'll take the risk and stay with you." After accepting the worldly creation fruit, the Xian Tian divine canon, and a divine elixir of creation, Shen Jodi chose to stay in the Kunlun Holy Land and fight against Xin Huang with the others. Screech, screech, screech. On the 3rd day of Shen Jodi's stay in the Kunlun Holy Land, a high-pitched bird cry resounded throughout the 9 heavens, shocking the entire Kunlun Holy Land. Immediately after, rolling dark clouds surged in from all directions, covering the scorching sun and plunging the Kunlun Holy Land into darkness. The Phoenix God is going to break through to peak virtual God. Yi Qinfeng, who was preparing to cultivate in seclusion, was awakened by the long cry of the Phoenix God. Looking at the tribulation clouds that were gathering in the sky, he knew that the Phoenix God was about to break through. While the Phoenix God was receiving the pinnacle divine punishment, the Sanchasur God and the God of Life had also cultivated to the pinnacle of the Nihility God perfection stage with the help of the divine creation pill. They attracted the terrifying pinnacle divine punishment and were baptized by it in the vast Kunlun celestial mountain. The news of 3 peak divine punishments appearing in the Kunlun Holy Land spread like the wind throughout the entire Void God realm, causing the entire human clan to fall into ecstasy, while the celestial clan fell into a haze. The Phoenix God, the Sanchasur God, and the God of Life endured 3 days and 3 nights of peak divine retribution. When they were about to break through to peak Nihility God, the God of Jade Heaven also attracted peak divine retribution. Although Shen Yaotian had just been revived not too long ago, her foundation far surpassed that of the chasing sun god, the Phoenix God, and the God of Life, so the divine punishment she attracted was even more terrifying, as if the end of the world had arrived. While Shen Yaotian was going through the divine punishment to break through to peak virtual God, Yi Qinfeng forcefully merged the spirit of the divine sword into the universal primordial sword, helping Mo to refine the spirit of the divine sword to increase the power and level of the universal primordial sword. After about 3 days, Mo completely controlled the spirit of the divine sword and slowly merged with it. Yi Qinfeng began to comprehend the spatial divine Wood's old branch, refining the star dragon pearl and refining his physical body. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye a year had passed. In this year, Shin Yaotian and the rest had refined the divine creation pill and had broken through to peak virtual God realm. Divine path, virtual God, Shen Hingu and the rest's abilities had also increased significantly. Shan Jodi had refined the heaven and earth creation fruit, the black heaven divine marrow, and the divine creation pill. He had continuously recovered his blood chi, strengthened his life spirit, and greatly increased his abilities. He was only half a step away from breaking through to extreme virtual God realm. The breakthrough was close at hand, but Shan Jodi knew that it would be extremely difficult for him to take this last step. If he cultivated on his own, it would be impossible for him to complete it. The ruins of deity, maybe there is an opportunity in the ruins of deity that can allow me to break through to extreme virtual God realm. Shin Judi took a deep breath and was determined to enter the ruins of deity to find an opportunity. Everyone broke through one after another. Yi Qinfeng, who had been cultivating in the cosmos realm, had refined all the star dragon pearls and the divine origin. He had broken through the extreme astral body and reached the divine body realm. His physical body strength had increased to 8 trillion gene, and with just his physical strength alone, he could fight against a complete virtual God realm power. However, the difference in abilities between complete virtual God realm and peak virtual God realm was huge. Just the strength of the divine body realm alone was far from enough. Just as Yi Qin-feng was patiently refining the divine origin and cultivating the divine change of 9 transformations to refine his physical body, a strong force of sword wei gushed out from the universal primordial sword, waking him up from his cultivation. He has broken through. Mo. Has refined the sword spirit and finally raised the universal primordial sword to a whole new level. Feeling that the power of the universal primordial sword had increased by more than 10 times, Yi Qin-feng let out a faint smile. With his current abilities, foundation, and the universal primordial sword, he could definitely fight against a peak virtual god realm power. The day of the ancient Star Road's appearance was getting closer and closer. Yi Qin-feng and the rest's abilities were increasing steadily. Meanwhile, the Sky Tribe, which was shrouded in a haze, had undergone another shocking change. In just 3 days, the 3 holy lands of the Sky Tribe had been massacred, and the Almighties who were above the main stage had mysteriously disappeared. And on the 5th day after the 3 holy lands of the Tian clan were exterminated, a series of roars that spread for tens of thousands of miles resounded in the heavenly palace. A thick, bloody mist covered the endless space, as if a great vicious creature was about to appear. His Majesty Shen Huang is finally going to be born. Looking at the sky palace that was getting thicker and thicker, Supreme Shintian, who had his hands behind his back, was excited. Although the Sky Tribe was in a bad situation now and had been completely overshadowed by the human tribe and Yi Wuji as long as Shen Huang was born, all the problems would be solved. Kill everyone. I need the strongest blood and qi to reconstruct my divine body. At this moment, a fierce and emotionless voice rang out in the Sky Palace. Yes, Your Majesty. Supreme Shintian did not dare hesitate and immediately ordered people to kill thousands of Almighties who were above the main stage and merge their auras into the blood fog. As the blood and qi above the Sky Palace became thicker and thicker, a ferocious mouth suddenly appeared in the blood fog and released a strong, devouring force. It was like a black hole that could devour the heavens and the earth, crazily devouring the blood and qi. Slowly, the black hole disappeared, and a crimson figure appeared in the blood mist. When this figure appeared, a terrifying pressure appeared in the entire space, causing cracks to appear in the sky. His Majesty Shen Huang. Looking at the figure that was getting clearer and clearer, Supreme Shintian and the others knelt on the ground and bowed respectfully. Get up and follow me to the Kunlun Holy Land. This god wants to see if that Yi Wuji really has the guts to go against this god. I want to let everyone know that this universe belongs to my Sky Tribe. Shan Huang, whose body was as strong as a divine mountain and wore a divine robe, had a pair of deep eyes that swallowed and spat out a bright light that illuminated the sky. Endless Tao will evolved around his body. He walked out of the blood fog and looked at Supreme Shintian and the others who were kneeling on the ground. His voice was as loud as a drum. Chapter 2161. Perfected Divine Body. Yi Qin-feng had been cultivating for countless years in a 50 times faster time flow. He had almost absorbed 90% of the divine original power and cultivated his saintly body to the top level. He had stimulated the potential of the primitive body to infinitely increase his physical strength to 100 trillion kilograms. However, the last realm of the divine change of 9 transformations, the divine body echelon, was too difficult to cultivate. Yi Qin-feng felt that he couldn't break through even after refining all the divine origin. Fortunately, when he was cultivating the divine change of 9 transformations, he had comprehended the old branch of the spatial divine would and cultivated the spatial rules of order to the 7th heaven, greatly increasing the defensive power of the spatial seal. Just as Yi Qin-feng was enduring the loneliness and cultivating in the Qin-kun realm, the situation outside the Kunlun sacred ground suddenly changed. Red clouds that covered hundreds of thousands of miles suddenly appeared and covered the entire Kunlun sacred ground, alarming the entire human race. All the races in the void god world turned their attention to the Kunlun sacred ground. Yi Wuji, I'm here. Aren't you going to come out and welcome me? An extremely arrogant and domineering voice rang out from the red clouds, instantly dispersing the clouds that covered the Kunlun sacred ground. Shen Huang has appeared. Hearing this voice, Shen Judy, sun-chasing god, Shen Yaotian, and the ancestor dragon god who are cultivating in the depths of the Kunlun sacred ground woke up from their cultivation. They immediately appeared on the highest peak of the Kunlun sacred ground and looked up at the sky. "Since you don't want to come out, I'll come in myself." As he spoke, a foot appeared in the red clouds and crushed the space within a radius of dozens of miles. It was as if it wanted to trample through the underworld as it ruthlessly stepped on the restriction that covered the Kunlun sacred ground. Rumble. After receiving Shen Huang's foot and being modified by Yi Wuji, a large number of cracks immediately appeared on the impregnable restriction. The terrifying power caused the entire Kunlun celestial mountain to shake violently. I didn't expect such a small restriction to be able to withstand my foot without breaking. After failing to break the Kunlun restriction with one foot, Shen Huang, who was in the red clouds, stomped a second foot. He ruthlessly stepped on the Kunlun restriction that was full of cracks, but he still couldn't break it. Form the formation. Although the restrictions of Kunlun that Yi Wuji had modified had blocked Shen Huang's attack, Shen Yaotian and the others knew that with Shen Huang's strength, it was only a matter of time before he broke through the restrictions of Kunlun. They immediately summoned the ancient god destroyer matrix and placed it above the Kunlun golden palace. Yi Wuji, who was refining the heaven-seizing divine pill and trying to break through to the ultimate void god stage, was hiding under the Kunlun golden palace. Enter the formation base. Summoning the primordial god annihilation formation, Shen Yaotian appeared in the center of the formation, while Shen Jodi, sun-chaser god, Tai Yi ancestral dragon god, phoenix god, god of life, and Yi Qinfeng appeared at the 7 bases of the formation, becoming one with the primordial god annihilation formation. They increased the power of the primordial god annihilation formation to the greatest extent, preparing to use this formation to fight against Shen Huang. Rumble. When Yi Qinfeng and the rest merged into one with the ancient god extermination formation, the restrictions of Kunlun couldn't withstand Shen Huang's attack and were shattered by his divine foot. Ancient god-slaying array. After breaking the restrictions of Kunlun, Shen Huang discovered the primordial god annihilation formation that enveloped the Kunlun golden palace. His arrogant face revealed a tinge of surprise. The primordial god annihilation formation was known as the #1 formation of all time. It had been lost for a long time, and no one had been able to set it up. The power of the primordial god annihilation formation was even more terrifying. If it could unleash its full power, it could threaten Shen Huang, who is an ultimate void god. Where is Yi Wuji? Ask him to come out and see me. Shen Huang was like a majestic mountain standing in midair. He looked at Shen Yaotian, who was in charge of the primordial god annihilation formation, and said overbearingly, "Shen Huang, we meet again. I wonder if you still recognize me?" Shen Judy looked at Shen Huang, who was destroying the gods, with hatred in his eyes. He gritted his teeth and said, "Shen Judy, I always thought that you were going to be a coward. I didn't expect you to come out." Shen Huang's eyes were deep and there was a tinge of disdain in them. "It's good that you are here. I don't have to look for you. Shen Huang, I should have destroyed you back then at all costs." Shen Judy gritted his teeth and said, "Ha ha, Shen Judy, do you really think that you are the savior?" Shen Huang laughed and said arrogantly, "There was no difference with or without you back then. You were just one more dead soul." Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. As he spoke, Supreme God Heaven brought thousands of powerful divine tribal mighties and appeared in the sky above the Kunlun sacred ground. They sealed the entire space. Everyone get ready for battle. As Supreme God Heaven and the rest appeared, the voices of Yi Qinfeng, Shen Yaotian, and the rest rang out. The chaotic divine beast, Tao Tai, Shin Daoshu, Death God, War Demon, and the rest who had been cultivating in the Kunlun sacred ground all appeared. They were ready to fight to the death with the divine tribe before the ancient road of stars came. I didn't expect there to be so many divine tribe survivors hiding here. Shen Huang glanced at Shen Daoxiu and the rest, and his eyes were filled with a strong murderous intent. The divine tribe and the divine tribe were mortal enemies. Shen Huang would not allow any divine tribe almighties to live in this world. Roar, roar, roar. Just as the great battle was about to break out, loud dragon roars rang out from the depths of the Kunlun sacred ground. After receiving the message from the ancestor dragon god, the dragon god brought a group of dragon tribe elites and appeared in the Kunlun sacred ground through the space transfer formation. After a period of cultivation, the dragon god's strength had reached the complete empty god realm. The dragon emperor had reached the mid-level empty god realm. Dragon King Tian, Silver Dragon King, and the rest had also broken through to the low-level empty god realm. The dragon tribe also wants to interfere in the conflict between the divine tribe and the human tribe. Shen Huang snorted and looked at the dragon god, who was wearing a golden dragon robe and a dragon crown. He exuded a strong dragon aura as he walked over in the void. The human tribe is the eternal ally of the dragon tribe. We are willing to stand against a common enemy with the human tribe. Although Shen Huang was terrifying, the dragon god did not back down and replied firmly, "Count in the ancient tribe." At this moment, a large amount of space transfer formation appeared behind the Kunlun sacred ground. Gu Qianxiu brought a group of ancient tribe almighties and rushed to the Kunlun sacred ground. In order to fight against the divine tribe, Gu Qianxiu brought along several ancient trees from the ancient tribe and opened up a space. Gu Qianxiu, I realized that the ancient tribe must be tired of living. How dare you challenge your god? The appearance of the ancient tribe caused Shen Huang's face to turn even uglier. All right, since you guys are courting death, your god shall grant your wish. Your god shall let you know who is the true ruler of this universe. In front of your god, Yu Wuji is nothing but a joke. Wash the Kunlun sacred ground with blood. Leave no one alive. Yes, your majesty Shen Huang. Supreme Shen Tian and the rest replied in unison. Thousands of invincible divine weapons flew out of their bodies and danced in the air. The terrifying power caused the sky to change color and brought about a fatal threat to Shen Daoxiu and the rest. However, Shen Daoxiu, Shen Yougu, the dragon tribe, and the ancient tribe did not back down. They summoned their own void god weapons and prepared to fight to the death with the divine tribe. Crack, crack, crack. The entire void could not withstand the impact of so many divine weapons and started to shatter. A great war was about to break out. The situation of the void god world would also change dramatically because of this war. Chapter 2162. Supreme Emperor Heavenly Path. Supreme Heaven Limitless. Shen Huang glanced at the primordial god-destroying formation coldly. Boundless Tao will gushed out of his body, forming a terrifying celestial phenomenon above his head that covered the entire sky. With one strike, the celestial phenomenon merged with the blood mist in the sky. The terrifying power seemed to want to penetrate the 9 heavens and 10 realms. Primordial god-destroying formation. God-destroying strike. Shen Huang attacked with the Supreme Emperor Heavenly Path's power. Shen Yaotian, who controlled the core of the primordial god-destroying formation, immediately activated the god-destroying formation. In an instant, everyone's power was sucked away, forming a boundless god-destroying force that fought fiercely with Shen Huang. Ka. With one strike, the space instantly shattered, turning into nothingness. The entire Kunlun, holy land, shook violently. Although the primordial god-destroying formation's power was terrifying and had merged with the divine power of Shen Yaotian, Yi Qinfeng, and the rest, the gap between the peak of the empty god realm and the extreme of the empty god realm was too big. With one strike, they were evenly matched. No one could do anything to the other. Primordial, God-destroying formation. Power of eternity. After one strike, Xin Yaotian continued to operate the primordial, God-destroying formation, forming a terrifying power of eternity to attack Shen Huang. However, Shen Huang's power was too terrifying. He continued to use unpredictable power to shatter the primordial, God-destroying formation's attack, continuously increasing the pressure on Yi Qinfeng and the rest. While everyone was using the primordial, God-destroying formation to fight Shen Huang, the Chaos Divine Beast, Tao Tai, Grim Reaper, Gu Qianqiu, and the rest were also fighting fiercely with Supreme Divine Heaven. With Shen Huang's help, Supreme Divine Heaven stepped into the peak of the empty God realm, bringing great danger to Gu Qianqiu and the rest. Shen Qianqiu, let's work together to fight against Supreme Divine Heaven. The Dragon God merged with the ancestral Dragon Pearl and appeared beside Gu Qianqiu with the ancestral Dragon Sword in his hand. All right. Gu Qianqiu nodded. He merged several trump cards and raised his combat strength to the maximum, attacking Supreme Divine Heaven with the Dragon God. Under the joint attack of the Dragon God and Gu Qianqiu, they resisted the fierce attacks of Supreme Divine Heaven with great difficulty. They fought fiercely in the void. God, the battle of the 4 clans. Who is that person? How can his strength be so shocking? The battle in the Kunlun Holy Land startled the entire faux god world, causing all the major factions to rush over upon hearing the news. When they saw Shen Huang, whose strength reached the heavens, clashing head-on with the ancient god exterminating formation, many people were shocked by his shocking strength. Could this person be the legendary ancestor of the divine clan, Shen Huang? Shen Huang, it's him. He's actually still alive. Many had heard of Shen Huang's name and knew how terrifying he was. Heavens, the Tian clan is going to fight to the death with the 3 clans. If the 3 clans are defeated, I'm afraid that the entire Void God realm will belong to the Tian clan. Just as the crowd was in awe of Shen Huang's strength and was discussing animatedly, a series of ear-piercing sounds rang out. The Sword God, who had broken through to the late stage of the Void God realm, rushed to the Kunlun Holy Land with a large number of sword domain experts and joined the battle. The fierce battle became more and more intense, and experts continuously died in this unprecedented battle that shocked the entire Void God realm. As the situation became more and more chaotic, more virtual gods died in the fierce battle. You bastards, even if I die, I'll drag you all down to hell. The war demon, who was covered in blood and had been pierced by numerous great void god weapons, roared angrily with his blood-red eyes. He pounced on several empty gods from the Tian clan like a madman. Boom! The severely injured war demon self-destructed and launched a fatal attack on several empty gods from the Tian clan, instantly taking away the lives of 2 empty gods. The war demon is dead. Yi Qinfeng, who was continuously injecting divine power into the ancient god destroyer formation, discovered that the war demon had died, and he cried in his heart. Although the war demon hadn't been loyal to him for long, it had helped him a lot. He had even promised to bring the war demon to the peak of the faux god realm. However, all of this had gone up in smoke because of the war demon's death. This had also allowed Yi Qinfeng to experience the cruelty of the battle of the gods. Roar! Roar! You bastards! Grandpa Primal Chaos will fight out with you. Although the Primal Chaos Divine Beast was powerful, he could not withstand the destructive power of the chaotic battle. He roared and burned his bloodline power to the greatest extent, launching a fatal attack on the empty gods from the Tian clan. Devour! Seeing the Primal Chaos Divine Beast killing several people and being annihilated by the divine weapons, Tao Tai's offensive divine weapon appeared. It opened its bloody mouth and devoured 3 people and several divine weapons in an instant, saving the Primal Chaos Divine Beast from death. Screech! 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 Just as the number of casualties increased, long screeches reverberated through the 9 heavens. More than 60 phoenixes led many empty gods from the demon clan through the teleportation formation and appeared in the severely damaged Kunlun sacred ground. The demon clan, Tai Xintian, who was facing Gu Qianqiu and the dragon god's attack, saw that the demon clan had come to help, and his face instantly turned gloomy. The phoenixes were the top divine beasts of the demon clan. Their appearance at the critical moment could change the situation. Indeed, with the help of the phoenixes and the other empty gods, the pressure on the primal chaos divine beast, Shenheng, and Gu Qianqiu was greatly reduced. The number of empty gods started to increase. However, what truly changed the situation was the fierce battle between Shen Huang and the primordial god annihilation formation. Enduring Shen Huang's attacks, each stronger than the last, Xin Yaotian, who was in charge of the primordial god annihilation formation, was under immense pressure. Every time Shen Huang attacked, she would vomit blood. "Mother, can you still hold on?" Feeling that Shan Yaotian's injuries were getting worse and worse, Yi Qinfeng's heart tightened as he asked. "Don't worry, I can still hold on." Shen Yaotian took a deep breath and said, "We must hold on until your father breaks through. Only when your father breaks through to the void god realm will we be able to defeat them. Primordial god annihilation formation. Reverse heaven and earth." The pale-faced Shen Yaotian took a deep breath and spat out mouthfuls of blood into the primordial god annihilation formation, regardless of the cost. She activated the formation's power and reversed heaven and earth, resisting Shen Huang's invincible attacks. "Humph. This god wants to see how many of this god's attacks you can withstand." Shen Huang snorted coldly. The boundless Tao suspended above his head turned into 2 huge millstones, crushing the space and ruthlessly bombarding the primordial god annihilation formation. Uft, uft. Enduring the attacks of the 2 millstones, Xin Yaotian's injuries worsened even further. The blood she spat out dyed her clothes red. "Mother, let me help you control the formation core." Yi Qinfeng looked at Shen Yaotian, who was under the most pressure and was heavily injured, and said worriedly, "Don't worry, son. This little injury won't affect me." Shen Yaotian took a deep breath, and the bell of destiny broke out of her body. When Shen Yaotian completely merged with the bell of destiny, her physical strength rose steadily. "Humph, it's just a divine weapon of destiny." Shen Huang snorted coldly and said, "All right, it's about time. I'll let you all witness this god's true strength." As he spoke, the spatial divine would appear on Shen Huang's body and instantly transformed into a world. In this world, there were rivers, a sun, a moon, an ocean, and land. It was like a brand new world. Go. The spatial divine would evolve to the extreme, and Shen Huang controlled this world to crash into the primordial god annihilation formation. Boom! Facing the spatial attack of the spatial divine would the primordial god annihilation formation was forcefully pushed back several meters. With the primordial god annihilation formation as the center, everything around it turned into ashes. Although Shen Yaotian had merged with the Bell of Destiny and her endurance had greatly increased, the spatial divine Wood's attack still heavily injured her. Strong, Shen Huang is even stronger than he was hundreds of thousands of years ago. After experiencing Shen Huang's might, Shen Judy, sun-chasing deity, and the others' hearts fell to the bottom. Chapter 2163. Mom, let's switch positions quickly. Only then can we hold on until Dad breaks through. Yi Qinfeng said anxiously as he looked at Shan Yaotian, who was spitting out blood continuously. But you, don't worry, Mom. My physical body is no weaker than a creation divine artifact. I will be fine. If I can't hold on, we can switch positions. Yi Qinfeng said anxiously. All right then. Shan Yaotian knew that there was no point in forcing herself. She immediately switched positions with Yi Qinfeng. Boom! Yi Qinfeng had just taken control of the array when he was attacked by Shen Huang. A force beyond Yi Qinfeng's imagination slammed into his body, making him feel like he was hit by a divine mountain. His body trembled, and a large amount of blood spurted out of his mouth. "Qingfeng, are you all right?" Seeing Yi Qinfeng spitting out blood after taking the brunt of the attack, Phoenix God and the others felt their hearts tighten as they hurriedly asked, "I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Attack with all your might." Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and merged with his Chaos Dharma form. He activated the strongest potential of his desolate body and controlled the primordial God-destroying formation to attack Shenhuang. God-destroying hand. Under Yi Qinfeng's control, the primordial God-destroying formation instantly sucked away the divine power in everyone's body and transformed it into a giant hand that covered heaven and earth. It evolved into a mysterious Tao will as it pressed down on Shenhuang. "Humph, you want to threaten me with this kind of attack?" Shenhuang snorted coldly as he met the God-destroying hand with a punch. Although Shenhuang's punch was extremely small compared to the giant hand formed by the primordial God-destroying formation, its power surpassed that of the God-destroying hand. Boom! The God-destroying hand shook violently and shattered like glass. "Everyone, open up your domains." When the God-destroying hand shattered, Yi Qinfeng transmitted his thoughts to Phoenix God, Tai and the others, asking them to release their powerful domains and merge them with the primordial God-destroying formation. After fusing with the power of everyone's domains, the primordial God Annihilation Array's power increased exponentially. However, Yi Qinfeng, who was in control of the array, was under immense pressure. Fortunately, he had cultivated the divine change of 9 transformations to the sacred body Great Circle, which had stimulated the potential of the primitive body. He was able to withstand the heavy pressure. Deity Vanquishing Sword. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and controlled the primordial God-slaying formation to rapidly form streaks of gigantic sword auras that were powerful enough to slice through anything. These streaks of sword auras fell like a waterfall, shattering the incoming fist auras and slashing toward Shenhuang. "Yes." Shen Huang frowned slightly. He controlled the space created by the spatial divine would to collide with the deity vanquishing swords in the air. Yi Qinfeng was in charge of the primordial God extermination formation and was able to fend off Shen Huang's attacks for a short period of time. The chaos divine beast, Shen Hingu, and the others were also engaged in an intense battle with the celestial race's supreme beings. In the fierce battle, Ancestor Fa Tian was killed, and the god of death was severely wounded. If the evil god had not unleashed his power at the critical moment and killed his enemies, the god of death would have died under the siege of the celestial race's supreme beings. Their injuries increased, but the evil god, the Dragon Emperor, and the others did not retreat. They knew that this was a battle that they could not afford to lose. Once they lost, they would be annihilated. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The Phoenixes had an absolute advantage in this fierce battle. They relied on their powerful, gifted superpowers to continuously kill the celestial race's supreme beings, causing them fatal injuries. Gu Qianqiu, Dragon God, you 2 old things, die for me. Looking at the scene in front of him, Supreme Xintian roared and continuously used the supreme divine abilities of the Tian clan, completely suppressing Gu Qianqiu and the Dragon God. They were forced to retreat bit by bit, and blood kept spurting out of their mouths. Their injuries gradually worsened, but Gu Qianqiu and the Dragon God did not retreat. Instead, they used all their strength to fight against Supreme Xintian. "Hey, Brother Su, do you think the human race will have the last laugh?" "I don't know. I hope the heavens will protect the human race. Why didn't the human sovereign appear at such a critical moment? If the human sovereign came, he might be able to change the fate of the human race. The human sovereign is a complete hypocrite. The fate of the human race still depends on the Wuji God." Just as the supreme beings of the human race were hiding in the distance and watching this unprecedented battle, Shen Huang, who had lost his patience, launched a fatal attack on the primordial god annihilation array, wanting to end this battle in one go. Yi Wuji, if you still don't come out, don't blame me for starting a massacre. Shen Huang roared arrogantly. His entire body merged with the spatial divine wood, turning into a red space. And in this space, supreme divine power was constantly evolving. It was like a furious divine punishment, constantly bombarding the primordial god annihilation array. Puff, puff. Although Yi Qinfeng's physical body was strong, he continuously spat out blood after enduring the attacks of Shen Huang's supreme divine power. Fortunately, the Chaos Dharma idol was heaven-defying enough to help Yi Qinfeng neutralize most of the attacks. Qinfeng, can you still hold on? If not, let this old bag of bones take control of the array core. Looking at Yi Qinfeng, whose face was pale without a trace of blood and whose injuries were getting worse, the primordial dragon god said worriedly, "Don't worry, Senior. I can still hold on. If I really can't hold on, I'll ask Senior for help." Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath, gritted his teeth, and held on bitterly. But as time passed, Yi Qinfeng finally couldn't hold on and switched places with the primordial dragon god. After another day, Tai replaced the severely injured primordial dragon god and took control of the array core of the primordial god annihilation array. Time passed day by day. The fierce battle continued. A thick blood aura filled the void, forming thick blood clouds. The entire Kunlun sacred land became a living hell. After about 10 days, Yi Qinfeng and the other 7 took turns. And under Shen Huang's endless attacks, their injuries were getting worse and worse. They could barely hold on. "Aunt Tian, I'll switch places with you." Yi Qinfeng looked at the god of life, who couldn't take it anymore, and shouted. "Don't worry, Qinfeng. I can still do it." The god of life bit her lip and said firmly, "Aunt Tian, we still need your treatment. Nothing can happen to you." Yi Qinfeng said anxiously, "And I have the primordial blood and endless divine power. My endurance is far better than yours." "All right then." The god of life really couldn't take it anymore. She took a deep breath and switched places with Yi Qinfeng. But the moment they switched places, Shen Huang seized the opportunity. The red space transformed into a terrifying meteor shower, bombarding the primordial god annihilation array. It directly caused a large number of cracks to appear on the primordial god annihilation array. It was on the verge of collapse. Not good. Everyone, open up your domains. Defend with all your might. When the primordial god annihilation array collapsed, Yi Qinfeng and the others opened up their powerful domains, using the power of their domains to forcefully stabilize the primordial god annihilation array. But Shen Huang's attack lasted for too long. About 6 hours later, the domains that Yi Qinfeng and the others had opened up shattered. The moment the 8 domains shattered, Shen Huang suddenly appeared in front of the primordial god annihilation array. He merged with the power of the red space and punched the cracked primordial god annihilation array. Poof, poof, poof. With this attack, Yi Qinfeng and the others were all injured. The primordial god annihilation array that they were guarding also shattered. Before Yi Qinfeng and the others had a chance to catch their breaths, Shen Huang delivered another fatal attack, shattering the 7 array foundations in one fell swoop and destroying the primordial god annihilation array that Yi Qinfeng and the others relied on the most. "It's all over. Let me send you all to the Western Paradise." Seeing Yi Qinfeng and the others fall one by one toward the Kunlun Golden Palace and smash through it, Shen Huang mobilized a supreme divine power and launched a fatal attack. Boom! Chapter 2164. No. Looking at the annihilated Yi Qinfeng and the others, Shen Daoxiu, the dragon god, and the others' hearts skipped a beat. Once Yi Qinfeng and the others died, the outcome of this unprecedented battle and the fate of all the races would be decided. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying energy continued to bombard the space, shattering the Kunlun Golden Palace. However, under this destructive attack, Yi Chen-fong and the others had disappeared without a trace. Yi Wuji! Seeing Yi Chen-fong and the others disappear at the critical moment, Shan Huang knew that only Yi Wuji had the ability to save them under his nose. Yi Wuji, stop hiding. Fight me like a man. Shan Huang released a powerful soul power that covered the entire Kunlun sacred land, but he couldn't find Yi Wuji's hiding place. You don't want to come out? Then I'll kill them all. Let's see if you come out. Unable to find where Yi Wuji was cultivating, Shan Huang was ready to go on a killing spree and kill Shin Yogu, the Dragon Emperor, Gu Qianqiu, and the others. Shan Huang, do you think I'll give you the chance to kill them? Suddenly, Yi Wuji's voice rang out. Little six paths suddenly shattered the space and appeared above the ruined Kunlun sacred land. He released a powerful devouring force and sucked all the powerful cultivators into little six paths, so you're hiding here. Shan Huang's pupils constricted. He controlled his supreme power and bombarded a space wall that was full of cracks. The attack broke through the space, but he couldn't find Yi Wuji. At this time, little six paths took everyone into the universe mirror. Stay here. Unable to find Yi Wuji's hiding place, Shan Huang immediately launched a fierce attack on Little Six Paths. He controlled the space divine wood to suppress Little Six Paths, not giving him a chance to escape. Rumble! While Shen Huang was suppressing Little Six Paths with all his might, the clouds in the sky suddenly changed. Endless black clouds surged from all directions, covering the entire sky and dispersing the blood mist floating in the air. Tribulation clouds. Why are there suddenly tribulation clouds? Is someone going to go through a tribulation? Who's going through a tribulation at this juncture? Looking at the sudden appearance of the tribulation cloud, the experts from the various major forces who were watching from afar discussed animatedly. On the other hand, Shen Huang's expression turned extremely ugly. He had swallowed a large number of divine clan members at all costs and came out in advance to stop Yi Wuji from breaking through to the void god realm. But now, right under his nose, Yi Wuji's tribulation cloud had arrived. Rumble, 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 rumble. The tribulation clouds grew thicker and thicker. The terrifying power of divine punishment was like a surging tide, madly gathering in the five-colored tribulation clouds. The entire world fell into great chaos. Terrifying thunder swallowed all the sound in the world, making the celestial race powerhouses feel suffocated and terrified. Boom! As the five-colored tribulation clouds grew thicker and thicker, a five-colored divine punishment tore through the clouds like a giant dragon, shocking the world. Supreme Shantian, quickly take everyone away from the Kunlun Holy Land. Sensing how terrifying Yi Wuji's divine punishment was, Shan Huang's arrogant face couldn't help but reveal a trace of seriousness as he loudly ordered. Yes, Your Majesty Shan Huang. Supreme Shantian didn't hesitate. He immediately took the divine clan powerhouses who were lucky enough to survive and escaped from the Kunlun Holy Land that was shrouded by the divine punishment. They hid in the distance. Oh my God! This divine punishment is too terrifying. This is the first time I've seen such a terrifying divine punishment. Yes, just the aura of the divine punishment alone is enough to make people despair. I really can't imagine how powerful this divine punishment is. Just as the humans were feeling regretful over the divine punishment that Yi Wuji had attracted, Shen Huang used the aura of the divine punishment to finally lock onto Yi Wuji's hiding place. So you're here. Shen Huang's eyes narrowed. He immediately threw a punch at the ruins of the Kunlun Golden Palace. The terrifying aurora of his fist shattered everything. It directly blasted a bottomless black hole through the peak of the mountain and crashed into a layer of powerful spatial restriction. Shen Huang, do you want to go through the divine punishment with me? Although his hiding place had been discovered by Shen Huang, Yi Wuji didn't reveal a trace of panic. His low voice rang out. Yi Wuji, Do you really think that you can go through this extreme divine punishment in front of me? Shen Huang said coldly. Haha, it's not up to you to decide whether I can go through it or not. Yi Wuji laughed and said, Shen Huang, I'll make a bet with you today. Let's see who the heavens side with. Yi Wuji, you will definitely die. Shen Huang's face darkened. He kept attacking Yi Wuji's hiding place. He wanted to break the restriction and effect Yi Wuji's divine punishment. However, under Xiao Liudao's seal, although Shen Huang broke the restriction, he couldn't shake Xiao Liudao, let alone threaten Yi Wuji. At this time, the 5 colored clouds that were getting thicker and thicker began to swirl. Countless electric snakes flashed in the clouds. The scene of electric snakes dancing in the sky was quite spectacular. Shen Huang, my extreme divine punishment is about to descend. Do you really want to go through the divine punishment with me? Yi Wuji said arrogantly. So what if we go through the divine punishment together? A mere extreme divine punishment can't threaten me. Shen Huang said fearlessly. He continued to mobilize his supreme power to attack Xiao Liudao. Although Xiao Liudao was protecting Xiao Liudao and Shen Huang couldn't attack Yi Wuji immediately, controlling Xiao Liudao's defense also consumed a lot of Yi Wuji's energy. Shen Huang's goal was to prevent Yi Wuji from going through the extreme divine punishment in his best condition. That way, even if Yi Wuji could go through the divine punishment, he would be seriously injured. When Shen Huang mobilized his supreme power to attack Xiao Liudao, the extreme divine punishment finally descended. 18 5-colored divine punishments broke through the rapidly swirling clouds. They twisted the entire space and bombarded Yi Wuji, as well as Shen Huang, who had appeared in the area of the divine punishment. Spatial divine would transform into space. Under the attack of the extreme divine punishment, Shen Huang immediately controlled the spatial divine would to transform into space to block the baptism of the extreme divine punishment. Yi Wuji had no choice but to withdraw Xiao Liudao and use his own strength to block the divine punishment. He used the power of the divine punishment to reach the extreme of the virtual god realm. Die. The moment Yi Wuji withdrew Xiao Liudao, Shen Huang immediately attacked him. Yi Wuji had to divert his attention to control Xiao Liudao's defense. At that moment, Yi Qinfeng and the others, who were hiding in Xiao Liudao, saw the scene outside through Xiao Liudao. They instantly broke out in cold sweat for Yi Wuji. The extreme divine punishment of breaking through to the extreme of the virtual god realm was already terrifying enough. It was extremely difficult to go through it. Now, with Shen Huang's interference, Yi Wuji's chances of surviving the divine punishment were greatly reduced. Under such circumstances, even if Yi Wuji passed the extreme divine punishment, he would still be injured. It was also very likely that he would suffer from internal injuries, which would affect his combat strength. Father, let me go out and kill the people of the divine clan. Force Shen Huang to save them and relieve your pressure. Yi Qinfeng clenched his fists and looked at Shen Huang sharply. He transmitted his voice to Yi Wuji through Xiao Liudao. All right, be careful. Facing Shen Huang's interference, Yi Wuji indeed had a headache. He also felt immense pressure. Moreover, he was very confident in Yi Qinfeng's combat ability. With a thought, he sent Yi Qinfeng, who had mostly recovered from his injuries, out. He appeared beside the powerful figures of the divine clan. Wuji, let's go out and kill the people of the divine clan too. Shan Yaotian, the god of life, and the others who were severely injured, said, No need. I believe that Qinfeng alone is enough. Moreover, I can take care of him. If there are too many people, I'm afraid I won't be able to do it. Yi Wuji replied. With that, Yi Wuji controlled Xiao Liudao to block Shen Huang's attack while using his supreme superpower to block the extreme divine punishment. Chapter 2165. Sensing that Yi Qinfeng had appeared in the outside world, Shen Huang frowned slightly. However, when he realized that Yi Qinfeng was only at the great circle of the empty god realm. He did not take him seriously and attacked Yi Qinfeng with all his might. "Yi Qinfeng, how dare you come out? I'll destroy you today." Supreme Shintian's pupils constricted as he locked onto Yi Qinfeng, who had suddenly appeared. The wheel of heaven path broke out of his body and slashed towards Yi Qinfeng with a powerful Tao light. "We don't know who will die yet. Chaotic avatar, fuse! Primordial blood, burn!" In an instant, Yi Qinfeng raised his combat strength to the extreme, and his physical strength reached 300 trillion jin. He held the universal sword in his hand and faced the wheel of heaven path. Boom! The two divine weapons collided and created a large amount of sparks. It was like a sky full of divine fire shining in the air. What great strength! Supreme Shintian's brows twitched as he was shocked by Yi Qinfeng's explosive strength. After pushing back the wheel of heaven path with one strike, Yi Qinfeng did not attack Supreme Shintian. Instead, he charged towards the experts of the divine tribe and harvested their lives. Heavenly territory. In an instant, 3 divine tribe experts died under the universal sword. Supreme Shintian immediately opened up a powerful heavenly territory and trapped Yi Qinfeng. Chaos Fist. Facing the attack of the heaven domain, Yi Qinfeng immediately merged with the great desolate domain, instantly increasing his strength to 500 trillion jin. He shattered the heaven domain with a single punch and continued to crazily reap the lives of the celestial race experts. Spatial black hole. Supreme Shintian did not expect Yi Qinfeng's combat strength to be so strong and immediately used the spatial rules to attack him. The divine tribe experts, who were like frightened birds, retreated at this moment, not daring to get close to Yi Qinfeng. 10,000 swords return. The 3 space-isolating black holes attacked. Yi Qinfeng immediately fused with his sword domain, instantly transforming into tens of thousands of invincible divine swords that pierced through the black holes and continued to chase after the heaven race supreme beings. Painful screams echoed in his ears. Shen Huang, who was attacking Yi Wuji with all his might and exerting pressure on him, frowned slightly. However, he was an emotionless person. The deaths of the celestial race's powerful figures could not affect him at all. He removed all distracting thoughts and controlled the spatial divine wood. While resisting the baptism of the 9-9 extreme divine punishment, he attacked Yi Wuji at the same time. He was determined to make sure that Yi Wuji would not be able to step into the void god realm. "What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and kill the human races, Almighty." Yi Qinfeng's speed was too fast, and Supreme Shintian was unable to stop him at all. Looking at the Tian clan supreme expert, who had died one after another, Supreme Shintian was furious and ordered loudly, "Primitive Tao embryo kill." With a thought, Yi Qinfeng summoned 2 low-level, virtual, god, primitive embryos of Tao. They wielded 2 virtual god weapons and attacked the Sky Tribe Almighties. "Qian Kuan Realm, keep them." As Yi Qinfeng and the 2 primitive Tao embryos were killing each other, Yi Qinfeng controlled the Qian Kuan Realm to keep the human race's alarmed Almighties in for protection. Die. Heavenly Gods, 100 battle soldiers. Seizing the opportunity when Yi Qinfeng took in all the mighty figures of the human race, Supreme Shintian deduced his own Tao will to the extreme. In an instant, thousands of terrifyingly powerful divine weapons of various shapes and sizes appeared. They swept through the sky, fought against the great Tao, and bombarded Yi Qinfeng. Chaos Realm, Sword Realm, merge. Unable to dodge, Yi Qinfeng immediately merged the power of the 2 domains into his body, raising his defense to the maximum. Relying on the desolate physique, which was comparable to a destinable divine artifact, he took on the attack of the heavenly deity 100 battle soldier head-on. Boom! 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 After withstanding the attacks of the heavenly gods' 100 battle soldiers, Yi Qinfeng was forced to retreat. However, When the heavenly god's 100 battle soldiers, which could pierce through realms, hit his body, they were unable to injure him. What kind of fortuitous encounter did he have? How did he cultivate his physical body to such an extent? Supreme Shen knew the power of the heavenly god's 100 battle soldiers. Even a peak-empty god would not dare to take it head-on. However, Yi Chenfeng had withstood it with his physical body. Wheel of Heaven Wei, kill! Despite his shock, Supreme Shintian did not slow down his attacks. It was as though he had spat out a mouthful of life blood into the Wheel of Heaven Wei, activating the most powerful attack of the power of heaven and earth. With the supreme power of Heaven Wei, he attacked Yi Chenfeng. Godless Sword. As the Wheel of Heaven Wei slashed down, Yi Chenfeng's body merged with the universal sword and evolved the unparalleled killing Tao. He struck the Wheel of Heaven and Earth with his sword. In a series of intense collisions, Yi Chenfeng relied on his absolute attack to push the Wheel of Heaven Wei away. He then stabbed at Supreme Shintian's chest at an extremely fast speed. Sacred Book of Nature. Yi Chenfeng's attack did not decrease in power. Supreme Shintian's expression changed slightly as he quickly evolved the supreme super skills of the Divine Sky Tribe. He transformed into various attack forms and attacked Yi Chenfeng with all his might, wanting to kill him. Creation, Sword Soul, merge. As the power of creation attacked, Yi Chenfeng immediately controlled the creation Sword Soul and merged it into the universal sword, further increasing the attacking power of the universal sword. He then displayed the supreme sword principle and fought fiercely with Supreme Shintian in the void. When the battle between the two reached its climax, the first heavenly punishment of the 9-9 extreme heavenly punishment disappeared. Immediately after, the second heavenly punishment descended, bombarding Yi Wuji and Shan Huang, who was in the heavenly punishment area. Although Shan Huang had broken through to the virtual god realm, he still felt immense pressure when facing the 9-9 extreme divine punishment. However, in order to kill his greatest enemy, he did not retreat. He continuously displayed his supreme power to attack Yi Wuji, trying his best to distract him so that he could not go through the tribulation with all his might. Yi Wuji, don't persist. It's useless. I won't let you go through the 9-9 extreme divine punishment. Looking at Yi Wuji, who was slightly pale and had blood at the corner of his mouth, Shan Huang revealed a ferocious smile. Shan Huang, do you dare to fight with me in the tribulation cloud? Yi Wuji suddenly opened his eyes, which shot out billions of rays of light. He looked at the supreme Shan Huang and said loudly. After speaking, Yi Wuji summoned Little Six Paths back. He stepped on Little Six Paths and soared into the sky, facing the 9-9 extreme divine punishment. He flew rapidly towards the roaring divine punishment. Seeing that Yi Wuji was charging towards the tribulation cloud at all costs, Shen Huang revealed a ferocious smile but did not follow, because he knew what it meant to charge into the tribulation cloud. Even with his strength, he did not dare to take the risk. In Yi Wuji's current situation, there was almost no hope of survival. Yi Wuji, let me send you on your way. As he spoke, a long spear appeared in Shen Huang's hand. It was a long spear with countless Tao patterns that formed many ghost faces. It weighed hundreds of billions of kilograms. When this long spear appeared, its aura instantly shattered the chaotic space. It was as if this long spear was sealed with unimaginable power. One stab of the spear was enough to shatter the heavens and earth. God-slaying spear, destroy! Shen Huang roared. All the divine power in his body continuously flowed into the god-slaying spear. He stabbed at Yi Wuji, who had entered the tribulation cloud. Kacha! With one stab of the spear, the entire space was split in half. The terrifying light of the spear seemed to be constantly tearing the space apart. It stabbed at Yi Wuji at an extreme speed. Yi Wuji could not dodge the 9-9 extreme divine punishment attack at all. He could only control Little Six Paths to defend with all his might. But the god-slaying spear in Shen Huang's hand was something that he had spent a lot of effort to refine. Its level surpassed that of a divine weapon of creation. With one stab of the spear, even little six paths could not block it. Boom, boom, boom. There was a series of shattering sounds. Little six paths was pierced through by Shen Huang's god-slaying spear. The terrifying remaining power ruthlessly stabbed into Yi Wuji's body, piercing through his body. A large amount of blood spurted out. Chapter 2166. Your Majesty Shen Huang, Yi Wuji is dead for sure. Seeing that Shen Huang had retreated from the extreme 9-9 divine punishment, Supreme Shintian and the rest immediately went up and spoke in awe. It's hard to say. Yi Wuji is tough. The extreme 9-9 divine punishment might not be able to kill him. Shen Huang's expression was aloof as he looked at the five-colored tribulation clouds that constantly shook the heavens. In a low voice he said, "However, with me here, even if he survives the 9-by-9 divine punishment, I can still crush him to death." Boom! 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 Chilling explosions rang out continuously, causing the entire sky to tremble violently. In the depths of the five-colored calamity cloud, Yi Wuji's body was almost completely destroyed by the extreme 9-9 divine punishment. However, there was no trace of panic on his face that was filled with cracks. It was as though he had expected all of this. "Mother, will father be okay?" Yi Qinfeng asked anxiously as he looked at Yi Wuji's body that was about to be destroyed through Xiao Lu Dao. "Believe in your father. He should be able to get through this." Although Yi Wuji's situation was not good, and Shen Huang's spear had caused him great damage, Xin Yaotian was familiar with Yi Wuji. She was familiar with everything about him. Looking at his calm expression, Shan Yaotian felt that Yi Wuji still had something up his sleeve. Just as everyone looked anxiously at Yi Wuji through Xiao Lu Dao, the terrifying extreme 999 divine punishment shattered his body and destroyed it. However, the moment Yi Wuji's body was destroyed, a slowly beating heart appeared before everyone's eyes. Yaotian, Wuji's heart was obtained from the ancient Star Road. Looking at the undamaged heart that had been attacked by the extreme 999 divine punishment, Chasing Sun God immediately guessed the origin of this heart. "Yes, we obtained that heart at the edge of the ruins of God. However, that heart is very strange. Wuji has been refining it for countless years, and still hasn't been able to refine it." Xin Yaotian nodded. "If I'm not wrong, that heart should be the heart of an ultimate empty God Almighty." Xin Jiodi's eyes shone brightly as he stared at the slowly beating heart. Limitless wants to borrow the 9-9 extreme divine punishment to refine that heart. That's right. If Wuji can refine that heart, he might be able to use it to enter the extreme empty God realm. The ancestor dragon god nodded. His body was shattered, and his slowly beating heart bore the brunt of most of the attacks of the 9-9 extreme divine punishment. Origin energy fuse. As the 9-9 extreme godly retribution blasted the heart open, massive amounts of essence power surged out of the little six paths and fused into the heart to quickly heal the wounds. Days passed. When the fourth day passed, Shen Huang, who had been guarding outside the extreme 9-9 divine punishment, sensed a terrifying power slowly forming in the violently churning five-colored tribulation clouds. His expression changed slightly. This Yi Wuji is really something. He can even survive under such circumstances. Several thoughts flashed through Shen Huang's mind. In the end, he rejected his original plan and prepared to charge into the five-colored tribulation clouds, regardless of the consequences, to launch a fatal attack on Yi Wuji. Although this was a dangerous move, as long as he could kill Yi Wuji, Shen Huang believed that no one in the void god world would be able to compete with him for the position of God. Buzz, buzz, buzz! Just as Shen Huang was flying towards the five-colored tribulation cloud, a huge gap suddenly appeared in the chaotic space. A crimson gold sword ray descended from the sky. intertwined with supreme will of the great path, and slashed toward Shen Huang. Shen Huang raised his eyebrows and looked at the sword radiance descending from the sky. His arrogant face revealed a trace of shock, and he threw out an overbearing punch to meet it. Boom! The reddish-gold sword radiance shattered under Shen Huang's punch, but the power of the sword radiance shocked Shen Huang. Who is it? Shen Huang's face darkened. He did not expect that there would be someone in the void god world who could threaten him. Shen Huang, long time no see. A man wearing a dark golden robe and a crescent moon crown walked out of the space crack slowly. He looked at Shen Huang and spoke in a deep voice. You are the Ren Huang. Looking at the man in the dark golden robe, Shen Huang frowned slightly. He did not expect the Ren Huang to help Yi Wuji at such a critical moment. That's right, it is me. The Ren Huang nodded. Ren Huang, as far as I know, Yi Wuji and his family destroyed everything you had. Why are you still helping him? Shen Huang said with a gloomy face, You must know that once Yi Wuji reaches the pinnacle of the void god realm, he will become a huge threat to us. It is even possible that he will snatch the opportunity to compete for the position of God from us. Yes, Yi Wuji is very powerful, and he is a big problem for me. But you forgot one important thing. I am also a human being, and the blood of the human race flows in my veins. The human emperor said blandly, I would rather have a god from the human race than a god from an alien race. Haha, Ren Huang, I realize that you are a complete villain. Shen Huang laughed loudly. He did not believe the Ren Huang's explanation at all. You make it sound so dignified, but in fact you want me and Yi Wuji to both be injured so that you can benefit from it. Believe it or not, as long as I am here, you can't touch Yi Wuji. As he spoke, the sword god, the snow god, and the other powerful puppets of the human race who had died back then appeared around the Ren Huang. They formed a mysterious formation with him and blocked in front of Shen Huang. Humph, you can't stop me. As he spoke, Shen Huang lost his patience. He held the god-slaying spear that weighed hundreds of billions of kilograms and attacked the Ren Huang. As Shen Huang attacked, the Ren Huang instantly merged with the power of the formation and drew away the power of the sword god and the others. He interweaved countless sword shadows and used all his strength to block Shen Huang's attack. After clashing with Shen Huang head-on, the Ren Huang deeply experienced just how terrifying Shen Huang was. This also strengthened his resolve to protect Yi Wuji. Only by letting Yi Wuji hold Shen Huang back would he be able to obtain the greatest opportunity from the ancient road of stars. Otherwise, once Yi Wuji died, there would be no one in the void god realm to hold Shen Huang back. Then, the Ren Huang would be in even more danger. Although the Ren Huang's combat power was far inferior to Shen Huang's, with the help of the sword god and the others, as well as the help of the mysterious formation, the Ren Huang could still withstand Shen Huang's fierce attacks for a short period of time. As the Ren Huang resisted Shen Huang's attacks with all his strength, his slowly beating heart completely merged with all the power of the origin. He received the most thorough and fundamental baptism of the ultimate divine punishment. This allowed Yi Wuji to break through the bottleneck of his cultivation level and take that last small step with difficulty. With the power of the divine punishment, reconstruct my body. Taking the most difficult half step, Yi Wuji unleashed all of his power. A surge of blood, qi, gushed out of his heart and merged with the extreme divine punishment. The power of the divine punishment entered his heart and reshaped his physical body. Yi Wuji's eyes widened. I've broken through. Sensing that Yi Wuji's aura had undergone an earth-shattering change in an instant, Shen Huang's expression changed slightly. He held the god-slaying spear and attacked the Ren Huang with all his strength, wanting to push him back into the tribulation clouds whose power was rapidly diminishing. The pressure grew stronger and stronger, but the Ren Huang did not retreat. He held the Ren Huang sword in his hand and defended with all his strength. Seeing that Yi Wuji had refined the power of the divine punishment and reconstructed his divine body, he was about to step into the ultimate void god realm. Xin Huang took the Ren Huang's attack head-on and threw the god-slaying spear with all his might, piercing toward Yi Wuji in the tribulation clouds. Oh no! Yi Wuji, who had just reconstructed his physical body, changed his expression slightly. Instinctively, he wanted to dodge. However, the supreme power that shot out from the god-slaying spear sealed the space, making it impossible for Yi Wuji to dodge. The god-slaying spear pierced through his body. It's useless. You can't stop me from stepping into the ultimate void god realm. Yi Wuji's body was pierced through, but his aura did not diminish. He madly merged with the power of the divine punishment and reconstructed the wound in his body, forcing the god-slaying spear back. As he completely reconstructed his body, his heart, which he had not been able to refine for a long time, also completely merged with his body. Chapter 2167. Yi Wuji, I'll leave the rest to you. I'm leaving. Looking at Yi Wuji, who had reached the extreme empty god realm, Ren Huang, who was bleeding from the corner of his mouth, tore open the space and left quickly with Sword God and the rest. Ren Huang. Although Ren Huang had saved him at the critical moment, Yi Wuji knew that Ren Huang had his own selfish motives. Regardless, without Ren Huang, he would never have reached the extreme empty god realm. Yi Wuji, I've underestimated you. However, it's useless even if you reach the extreme empty god realm. I'll let you know how big the gap is between us. Shen Huang said with killing intent as he held the god-slaying spear and looked at Yi Wuji. He was going to kill Yi Wuji while he was still weak after breaking through. You couldn't kill me just now. You can't kill me now. Yi Wuji said fearlessly. Little 6 Das appeared in his body and released the 6 Das origin energy. Die. Shen Huang's pupils constricted. Rolling energy gushed out of his body and turned into an endless ocean. He thrust his spear forward, like a divine dragon, invincible. Facing Shen Huang's peerless spear, Yi Wuji immediately controlled little 6 Das and merged it into his right fist. He charged forward quickly and punched the tip of the god-slaying spear. Crack, crack, crack! Endless sparks shot out from the tip of the god-slaying spear. Although the god-slaying spear was powerful, it couldn't pierce through Yi Wuji's fist. However, the entire space couldn't withstand their attacks and shattered instantly. After that, they changed their moves and continued to attack each other. The two of them were at the top of the ethereal god artifacts. The destructive power of their attacks was terrifying. Wherever they went, the space shattered and the ground collapsed. Mountains and rivers were flattened. Spatial divine would merge. The two of them fought fiercely for more than 2 hours. Xin Huang merged with the spatial divine wood and guided the power of space into his body. He used the power of space to increase his combat strength and suppress Yi Wuji's attacks. Wuji, why don't we use the primordial god-slaying formation to fight him? Although the primordial god-slaying formation was broken, Shen Yaotian and the rest could use their bodies to form the formation in a short time. With Yi Wuji's current strength, he could control the core of the primordial god-slaying formation and deal a fatal blow to Xin Huang. All right. Having just broken through, Yi Wuji was not willing to fight Shen Huang head-on. With a thought, he summoned Shen Yaotian and the others, as well as the severely damaged primordial god destroyer formation. Then Yi Wuji replaced Yi Qinfeng and took charge of the core of the primordial god-destroying array. Shen Yaotian, Tai Yi primordial dragon god, and the other peak void god realm masters appeared at the broken base of the array and forcibly activated the primordial god-destroying array. Boom! The primordial god-slaying matrix was activated. Everyone's divine power fused together in an instant, transforming into a giant god-slaying hand that covered a corner of heaven and earth. It pressed down on Shen Huang, blocking Shen Huang's fatal attack. Supreme Shintian, I will kill you today. Yi Chenfeng, who had just been released, narrowed his eyes and locked onto Tai Shintian, who was hiding in the distance with a gloomy expression. He wielded the myriad origin sword and charged over once again, engaging in a fierce battle with him. The fierce battle became more and more intense. Yi Wuji controlled the primordial, god-destroying array and gradually turned the tables. However, Shen Huang did not retreat. He attacked with all his might with the god-reverting fist, determined to kill Yi Wuji and eliminate his biggest threat. Meanwhile, the battle between Yi Qinfeng and Supreme Shintian was equally fierce. Facing Yi Qinfeng's fierce attacks, Supreme Shintian continuously displayed one terrifying trump card after another to fight him head-on. Primordial, god-destroying array, power of the ancients. After fighting fiercely for about a day, Yi Wuji seized the opportunity when Shen Huang was pushed back and forcibly reversed the primordial, god-destroying array, forming the power of the ancients that traversed the universe and ruthlessly bombarded Shen Huang. Boom, boom, boom. A series of intense explosions rang out. Shen Huang's spear, which had become one with his weapon, was destroyed by the power of the ancients that burst forth from the primordial, god-destroying array. The terrifying power of the ancients ruthlessly bombarded Shen Huang's body, forcing him to retreat step by step. A trickle of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. His Majesty Shen Huang is injured. Heavens! Could it be that this world is destined to belong to the human race? No, His Majesty Shen Huang is invincible. He will definitely lead our divine race to stand at the peak of the void god realm and unify the entire universe. The people of the divine race who are hiding in the distance immediately revealed deep worry when they saw that Shen Huang was actually injured by the primordial, god-destroying array. This was because once Shen Huang was defeated, no one in the void god realm would be able to stop Yi Wuji. The human race would also suppress the divine race and become the number one race in the void god realm. With Shen Huang injured, Yi Qinfeng continuously used supreme divine abilities to suppress Supreme Shintian, forcing him to retreat step by step. Primordial Chaos Fist. When Yi Qinfeng forced Supreme Shintian to the peak of a towering mountain, he instantly merged with the primordial chaos domain and forcefully raised his strength to 500 trillion kilograms. He blasted out a punch filled with the power of the primordial chaos, shattering Supreme Shintian's defense as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. He ruthlessly bombarded his body, sending him flying and crashing into the towering mountain peak behind him. Supreme Shintian clan leader has also been defeated. Heavens, could it be that the heavens want to destroy our divine race? Seeing Supreme Shintian being sent flying by Yi Qinfeng's punch, the hearts of the divine races, almighties, fell to the bottom of the valley. Some even revealed looks of despair. Supreme Shintian, your momentum is gone. Obediently accept your death. Yi Qinfeng did not give Supreme Shintian a chance to catch his breath. With the universal origin sword in hand, he deduced the sword Dao to the extreme and evolved a supreme sword might. He fiercely attacked Supreme Shintian, continuously worsening his injuries. Qi, the universal origin sword, merged with the creation sword spirit and cut off Supreme Shintian's arm. A large amount of blood spurted out like a fountain. Your Majesty, I'm seriously injured. After his arm was cut off by Yi Qinfeng, Supreme Shintian's battle strength plummeted. He had no choice but to send a voice transmission to Shen Huang. Trash, quickly leave this place and return to the divine race to wait for me. Shen Huang cursed loudly, causing Supreme Shintian and the others, who had lost their left arm, to quickly retreat like birds startled by the twang of a bow. Meanwhile, he continued to launch supreme attacks and fiercely attacked the ancient god destroyer formation controlled by Yi Wuji. However, when Supreme Shintian and the others retreated, Yi Qinfeng used his supreme sword Dao and crazily harvested, killing dozens of divine race almighties and causing fatal damage to the divine race. Supreme Shintian and the others escaped without a trace. Yi Qinfeng did not continue to pursue them. Instead, he turned back and summoned a large number of extremely powerful self-exploding pearls from the universe mirror and threw them at Shen Huang. Although the self-exploding pearls could not harm Shen Huang, they could affect him to a certain extent and distract him. "Little bastard, you're courting death." After being continuously attacked by the self-exploding pearls, Shen Huang was enraged and immediately diverted his attention to attack Yi Qinfeng. However, Yi Qinfeng was alert enough to dodge. Taking advantage of Shen Huang's distraction, Yi Wuji once again twisted the ancient god destroyer formation, forming an ancient power that pierced through the void and ruthlessly bombarded Shen Huang's body. It shattered his body's defenses and further aggravated his injuries. Just as the battle became more and more intense, and Yi Wuji and Shen Huang used all their trump cards and fought fiercely, the entire void god world suddenly became day and night. In the pitch-black sky, a crimson stream that seemed to be formed by countless stars vaguely appeared. Looking at the stream that seemed to traverse through time, Shen Huang and Yi Wuji instinctively stopped their attacks and looked over. Their faces were filled with shock. The ancient star road has appeared. Looking at the crimson starry sky that appeared at the top of the void god world, Shen Huang and Yi Wuji knew that the ancient star road had appeared. "Yi Wuji, when I become the ruler of this world, I will definitely destroy you first." Chapter 2168. Poof! After Shen Huang left, Yi Wuji took away the severely damaged primordial god destroyer ray. Before Shen Yaotian, the god of life, and the others could celebrate and congratulate him on breaking through to the ultimate empty god realm, a large amount of blood spurted out from Yi Wuji's mouth. His entire face turned pale without a trace of blood. His body swayed as Shen Yaotian held him in her arms. "Wuji, are you all right?" Shen Yaotian hugged Yi Wuji tightly and asked anxiously, "Let's go back to the little 6 paths to talk." Yi Wuji moved his mind and kept everyone in the little 6 paths. "Wuji, did Shen Huang's spear leave you with an unmentionable injury at the last moment of your heavenly tribulation?" Shinjuti, who had sharp eyes, asked softly. "Yes, Shen Huang's spear hurt my cultivation foundation and left me with an unmentionable injury when I reconstructed my divine body, causing my divine body to be incomplete." Yi Wuji nodded and said, "Sai, if I can't repair my divine body, even if I get the chance to become a god, I will fail. Father, I have a ball of god spirits here. Perhaps it can repair your divine body." Yi Qinfeng said telepathically, "No, that's your opportunity. It belongs to you. I don't want it." Yi Wuji shook his head and said, "Don't worry, Qinfeng. If there's really a chance to become a god, I hope you can do it too. Plus, there are many opportunities in the ruins of God. I believe I can find a great opportunity to repair my divine body." Yi Wuji took a deep breath and said resolutely, "All right, the ancient star road has appeared. Let's get ready and wait for the exit of the ancient star road to descend into this world. This time, we must seize the opportunity to become gods." Although the battle between Yi Qinfeng and Shen Huang had shocked the world, its impact was far less than the ancient road of stars. When the ancient road of stars appeared in the void god world, rumors spread everywhere. Some people even announced that there was an opportunity to become a god on the ancient road of stars. Becoming a god was the dream of all cultivators. Hearing that there was an opportunity to become a god on the ancient road of stars, the entire void god world was in an uproar. Many old monsters that had hidden themselves from the world came out to find the location of the ancient road of stars. As for Yi Qinfeng and the others who were in the ruins of the Kunlun Holy Land, they had been in seclusion the entire time, healing the injuries they had sustained from the battle with Shen Huang and the others. I wonder if this nature divine pill can help me break through to the peak void god realm? Although Yi Qinfeng's current battle prowess was not bad, his enemy's strength was too terrifying. Moreover, the void god realm was too big, and there were many hidden old monsters. Among those old monsters, there was no lack of almighty experts at the peak of the void god realm. Therefore, if Yi Qinfeng wanted to seize this unprecedented opportunity, he would need to further increase his battle prowess. Boom! After taking the nature pill, Yi Qinfeng immediately felt a majestic medicinal power erupting in his body. The strength of the medicinal power surpassed any other pill he had taken before. Chaos Dharma form, suppress. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and let the Chaos Dharma form suppress the explosive medicinal power of the nature divine pill. He controlled the Chaos Dharma form to quickly absorb and refine the medicinal power of the nature divine pill, trying his best to break through to the peak void god realm. As Yi Qinfeng had merged all the elixir toxins in his body into the heaven-plucking body, the effect of absorbing the nature divine pill was perfect. His strength increased rapidly. A day in the outside world was 100 days in the core of the six paths. In the 100 times faster time flow, the Chaos Dharma form crazily absorbed the medicinal power of the nature divine pill. However, Yi Qinfeng had broken through to the great circle of the void god realm for a short period of time. His foundation was far from Shen Yao Tian, chasing Sun God and the others. He encountered a lot of trouble when breaking through to the peak void god realm. After spending close to 30 years, he had completely refined the nature divine pill and cultivated to the great circle of the void god realm. He was one step away from the peak void god realm. After breaking through to the peak void god realm, Yi Qinfeng consumed a few chaos divine fruits. He wanted to use the powerful chaotic energy to cross the last small step. However, it was too difficult to break through to the peak void god realm. Yi Qinfeng had refined a few chaos divine fruits, but he was still unable to cross the last small step. He was stuck at the great circle of the void god realm. Just as Yi Qinfeng was patiently trying to break through to the peak void god realm, he received a message from Yi Wuji. The entrance to the ancient road of stars had appeared at the highest peak of the demonic world, the demonic sky peak. Let's go. Let's go to the demonic sky peak. Yi Wuji summoned a huge divine boat and drove the group to the demonic sky peak. At the same time, after knowing the location of the entrance to the ancient road of stars, the various races and forces also rushed to the demonic sky peak. In an instant, the severely damaged demonic world became lively. Look, that's the entrance to the ancient road of stars. The various almighties who had rushed to the demonic sky peak earlier were excited when they saw the entrance to the ancient road of stars slowly opening. Swoosh! An ear-piercing sound of something breaking through the air rang out. A peak void god realm almighty suddenly leaped into the air and flew toward the entrance of the ancient road of stars at an extremely fast speed. His action immediately attracted the attention of everyone at the demonic sky peak. Chaos Sacred Axe fuse! As he approached the entrance of the ancient road of stars, the peak void god realm almighty instantly fused with a giant axe that was filled with chaos power. He slashed at the slowly opening entrance of the ancient road of stars, wanting to be the first to enter the ancient road of stars and fight for the peerless opportunity inside. He had used all his trump cards and burned his powerful bloodline. His attack was extremely powerful, but when he slashed at the entrance of the ancient road of stars, he suffered a backlash from the ancient road of stars. The mountain-like axe shadow was instantly shattered. An unimaginable force bombarded his body, shattering his physical body and crushing his soul, killing him on the spot. Humph! You overestimate yourself. Can't you see that so many almighties dare not act rashly? A mere peak ancestor realm almighty wants to barge into the ancient road of stars. You must be tired of living. Looking at the blood shadow that had exploded in the void, the almighties of demonic sky did not show any pity. Instead, they mocked him for overestimating himself. Just as everyone was waiting patiently at the demonic sky peak for the ancient road of stars to completely open and for the space to stabilize. A terrifying aura appeared. An old man in a linen robe appeared at the demonic sky peak. His long beard almost reached the ground. His body was slightly bloated and his face was filled with wrinkles. He was holding a dragon-headed walking stick and had a towering, demonic chi. Emogu, the ancestor of the ancient demon tribe. He is still alive. Heavens, didn't they say that he died a long time ago? Back then, Emogu and Yamagod were known as the twin gods of the demon tribe. I wonder what realm Emogu's strength has reached after so many years. Looking at the old man who had suddenly appeared and shocked everyone present. Everyone present was shocked as they transmitted their thoughts to him. Emogu, long time no see. As soon as Emogu appeared, a loud voice resounded. A stone that shone with 5-colored divine light fell from the sky and landed at the demonic sky peak. The moment he fell, the huge impact caused the entire devil sky peak to tremble violently. Cracks extended across the mountain peak. Stone ancestor. Looking at the stone that was slowly turning into a human form, Emogu recognized that it was the stone ancestor, the ancestor of the stone tribe. He was a big shot that rarely appeared in the void god world. With the appearance of the ancient road of stars, I'm afraid that those old fellows who have one foot in the Yellow Springs will appear and fight for the opportunity to become a god. Emogu said in a hoarse voice as he held the dragon-headed walking stick and looked at the stone ancestor, who was emitting a terrifying pressure. No, I'm different from you. I just want to find the opportunity to step into the void god realm on the ancient road of stars, so that I can live for another lifetime. Stone ancestor shook his head. Stone ancestor, you are just an emotionless stone. What's the point of living for so long? Suddenly, a loud and domineering voice resounded. White tiger demon god. Looking at the huge white tiger that had suddenly appeared in the sky, Stone ancestor recognized that it was the white tiger demon god who had been chased by the primordial dragon god for countless years. In the end, he had faked his death and lived in seclusion. This time, the white tiger demon god's realm had reached a terrifying level. Although he had not stepped into the peak of the void god realm, he was only half a step away from the final breakthrough. Sigh, even a stone wants to live forever. Although Stone Ancestor did not have the heart to fight for the god realm, he wanted to live forever. As time passed, big shots that rarely appeared at the demonic sky peak continued to appear. Among them, there were many almighties who had already died, shocking everyone. Chapter 2169. Tianxian, he is still alive. Wasn't he killed by Supreme Xintian? It seems like we know too little about the void god world. Many people were not killed. Instead, they went into hiding. Sigh, so many void gods have appeared. The chances of us obtaining a great opportunity from the ancient road of stars are very slim. Many ambitious ancestor realm experts felt their hearts fall to the bottom when they saw these old monsters appear one after another. There were even some who had thoughts of retreating. Tianxian, you are a traitor of the Sky Tribe. How dare you come here? Aren't you afraid that Shen Huang will come and kill you? Emogu said in an unfriendly tone as he looked at Tianxian, who was surrounded by the great path of heaven and earth and whose aura was stronger than his. Humph! Someone will take care of him. Although Tianxian was from the Sky Tribe, he did not have a good relationship with them. He was even hostile to Shen Huang. Hence, he snorted and said fearlessly, "Buzz, buzz, buzz." Not long after Tianxian arrived, the deafening sound of a sword rang out in the void. A blinding golden light illuminated the land and landed at the top of demonic sky. Human sovereign. Almost everyone's attention was attracted to the human sovereign, who was wearing a long golden robe and a crescent moon crown. He was tall and straight and emanated a strong sword intent. As a rare genius of the Sky Tribe, Tianxian rarely admired anyone. However, when he saw the human sovereign, he felt a strong sense of danger. The human sovereign arrived and glanced at Tianxian, Emogu, and the others. He then sat down cross-legged and adjusted his breathing in silence, waiting for the ancient road of stars to open. After another day or so, 9 gigantic black Chilants appeared outside the Devil Sky Peak. They stepped on the void and pulled an ancient war chariot over. Beside the ancient war chariot, there are more than 10 Tian clan Nihility God realm experts. The clan leader of the divine sky tribe, Supreme Shintian, who was once known as the top person in the void god world, was among them. Shen Huang is here. Looking at the ancient war chariot and Supreme Shintian, who was guarding it respectfully, the Almighties in demonic sky knew that the true overlord of the void god world, Shen Huang, had arrived. Brother Shen Huang, long time no see. Emogu, stone ancestor, and Shen Huang were old acquaintances. When they saw Shen Huang arrive, they all went up to greet him. On the other hand, Tianxian's face revealed a trace of indifference. He slowly closed his eyes and sat down cross-legged, ignoring Shen Huang and the others. Tianxian, you're here too. Shen Huang's voice rang out from the ancient war chariot. I will now give you a chance to turn over a new leaf. If you are willing to submit to me, you will be the leader of the Imperial Sky Clan from now on. And if I don't want to? Tianxian opened his eyes and said in an unruly manner, Then I can only send you to hell. Shen Huang said coldly, When you become a god, I will naturally submit to you. You don't have that right now. Tianxian said fearlessly, completely unafraid of Shen Huang's threat. Tianxian, you really think you're all grown up now? Shen Huang said domineeringly. If I want to kill you, you won't last more than 3 breaths. Really? Then let's try and see how long I can live. Tianxian summoned a dragon-headed spear and stood on the ground like a fearless god of war. Shen Huang, I realize that you're really a failure. Even your own clan doesn't accept you. How can someone like you be worthy of fighting for the position of God? Ren Huang glanced at Tianxian, stood up slowly, and said loudly, You're courting death. As soon as Ren Huang finished speaking, an unparalleled power surged out from the ancient war chariot and instantly condensed into an invincible giant hand. It was like a divine mountain that pressed down on Ren Huang. As the invincible hand pressed down, Ren Huang's body emitted an ear-piercing sound of a sword. A crescent-shaped sword ray broke out of his body and slashed the invincible hand. Boom, boom, boom. The 2 powerful forces collided violently in midair, creating an earth-shattering sound that shook the entire firmament violently. Many of the Almighties in the Ancestor realm felt their legs go weak and they had difficulty breathing. They almost collapsed on the ground. After 3 breaths, the crescent-shaped sword ray formed by Ren Huang shattered. At this moment, Ren Huang's pupils constricted. 3 more crescent-shaped sword rays broke out of his body and slashed the invincible hand consecutively, breaking Shen Huang's attack. Shen Huang, if you want to fight to the death with me here, I'll do my best to keep you company. Ren Huang looked at the ancient war chariot and said with a high fighting spirit, Count me in. Tianxian held the dragon-headed spear in his hand and was extremely domineering. When Ren Huang, Tianxian, and Shen Huang were facing off, the chaotic void suddenly cracked. A giant foot that seemed to be able to trample through the 9 hells descended from the sky and ruthlessly stepped on the ancient war chariot that Shen Huang was riding. Although the war chariot had been strengthened by Shen Huang and was impregnable, it couldn't withstand the attack of the giant foot. The war chariot shattered immediately, and the 9 brave black Chilants were so frightened that they prostrated themselves on the ground and wailed. Yi Wuji! Seeing Yi Wuji walk out of the spatial crack, Shen Huang's killing intent erupted like a volcano. Shen Huang, if the 3 of us join forces, what do you think your chances of winning are? Looking at the enraged Shen Huang, Yi Wuji revealed a faint smile and dispelled the aura that Shen Huang had released. All right, I'll let you live for a few more days. When I become a god, I'll definitely destroy you all. Yi Wuji alone was enough to give Shen Huang a headache, and Ren Huang and Tian Xian were quite strong. Before entering the ancient path of stars, Shen Huang really didn't want to fight to the death with them. He snorted coldly and brought Supreme Shintian and the rest to the other side of the demonic sky peak to wait for the ancient path of stars to open. Ren Huang, no matter what your intentions are, I have to thank you. Thank you for stopping Shen Huang at the critical moment and allowing me to break through to the peak of the virtual God realm. Yi Wuji said lightly as he cast his gaze at the shrewd Ren Huang after Shen Huang left. Helping you is also helping myself. Ren Huang met Yi Wuji's eyes and said after thinking for a while. After about 4 days, the demonic sky peak was packed with people. The ancient path of stars became clearer and clearer, and terrifying energy suppressed the entire sky. Suddenly, a huge space gate appeared in the chaotic void, and the entire space stabilized. When the space gate appeared, Shen Huang, Ren Huang, Mo Gu, and the rest didn't hesitate. They all flew toward the space gate and fought to enter the ancient path of stars. Soon, fewer and fewer people were at the demonic sky peak. The ancient path of stars will open for 10 years. It's very dangerous during this time. Moreover, when we enter the space gate, we'll be sent to a random location. Therefore, I suggest that those who are above the late stage of the virtual God realm enter the ancient path of stars. The rest stay outside to prevent accidents. Originally, Yi Wuji wanted to bring everyone into the ancient path of stars, but he didn't expect so many hidden almighties to appear. To be safe, he changed his mind. All right, Yu Nikhang, Yu Yeming, and the rest also knew that the chances of them obtaining an opportunity on the ancient path of stars weren't high, so they listened to Yi Wuji's suggestion. Chengfeng, Dad, you must take good care of yourself. You must come out alive. We'll wait for you at the foot of the mountain. Yu Nikhang, Xiao Wendy, Yu Yeming, and the rest said reluctantly. Don't worry. I'll definitely return safely. Yi Chinfeng hugged Yu Nikhang and the rest tightly and promised them in a firm tone. He also left the 2 primitive embryos of Tao and 9 nether to them. Let's go. We'll enter the ancient path of stars. Remember, once we enter the ancient path of stars, don't waste any time. Fight for the space gate as soon as possible and be sent to the depths of the ancient path of stars. The true opportunity on the ancient path of stars is in the ruins of God. Chapter 2170. The Starry Sky, the Endless Starry Sky. After entering the ancient road of stars, Yi Chinfeng discovered that he had appeared in a vast and boundless star domain. Within this star domain, there were fragmented star continents, broken stars, broken mountains, and ruined palaces that drifted with the waves. Find the teleportation array. According to Yi Wuji, the ancient starry sky road had no end. If one wanted to enter the depths of the ancient starry sky road, they would have to find the teleportation array. Otherwise, flying alone would take them 10 years to reach the depths of the ancient starry sky road, let alone enter the ruins of God. So, Yi Chinfeng's body flashed as he quickly flew towards a broken starland in the distance. He wanted to find the teleportation array in the starry sky. That's Overlord Ginseng, Blood Lingji. Flying into the broken starland, Yi Chinfeng found many rare spiritual items, many of which were the main ingredients for refining the hollow spirit pill. However, Yi Chinfeng didn't waste time on these spiritual items. He released his powerful soul force to cover the surroundings, looking for the teleportation array. Someone's here. As he flew, Yi Chinfeng's powerful soul force sensed a life aura in front of him. This life aura was fighting with an extremely terrifying existence. The power of teleportation. Yi Chinfeng didn't want to pay attention to it, but the God-Eater brain, which was rapidly deducing, sensed the power of teleportation near this life aura. It's so easy to find the teleportation array. Yi Chinfeng raised his eyebrows, revealing a surprised expression. His body flashed as he flew over at an extremely fast speed. At this time, a charming woman wearing a pink martial arts suit with a graceful figure and beads of sweat on her forehead was waving a sharp crescent blade. She was fighting with a man wearing black armor and holding a long spear in the depths of the starland. Not far from them, there was a pile of rubble. From the rubble, Yi Chen Feng could vaguely feel the power of teleportation. Ao ao! Sensing Yi Chen Feng approaching the rubble, the armored man fiercely fighting with the woman roared and suddenly turned around, thrusting his long spear at Yi Chen Feng. "You're courting death." Suddenly attacked by the armored man, Yi Chen Feng's eyes shot out a sharp light. He stretched out a finger and pointed. Ka ka ka! Although the space in the ancient road of the starry heavens was incomparably tough, far surpassing that of the faux god world, Yi Chen Feng's finger light still caused ripples to appear in the space. The sharp finger light ruthlessly struck the tip of the spear, directly shattering it and sending the armored man flying. Ao! Even though his body was injured, the armored man did not fear death and continued to charge at Yi Chen Feng. His valiant aura was intimidating. Yi Chen Feng's attack. Yi Chen Feng's in the heavens and the earth's Tao and ruthlessly pressed down on the armored man's body. The armored man's body, and man couldn't move. Land. What a defense! Yi Chen Feng was surprised when he realized that the armored man's body didn't shatter after being suppressed by his palm. With his current strength, he could shatter a void god artifact with a single palm, let alone the armored man who was only at the peak of the ancestor realm. Thank you, young master, for saving me. Ching, or can't thank you enough. Seeing the armored man being suppressed by Yi Chen Feng with a single palm strike, the charming woman's eyes lit up. She gently brushed the black hair in front of her as she spoke in a flirtatious voice. Although the woman was charming and seductive, and her every movement carried a hint of charm, Yi Chen Feng was not interested in her at all. He nodded his head symbolically and flew to the pile of rocks enveloped by the restriction. As expected, there is a teleportation array sealed here. After breaking through the restriction in the pile of rocks, Yi Chen Feng discovered a teleportation formation that wasn't very large. At this time, the charming woman followed him. When she saw the teleportation array, her charming eyes revealed a look of surprise. She gently bit her lips and said, "Young master, I found this teleportation array first. Can you give it to me?" "Give it to you?" Yi Chen Feng smiled faintly and said, "It's not that I can't give it to you. But what benefits can you give me?" "If young master is willing, I'm willing to serve young master once." The charming woman's eyes revealed a seductive look as she said sweetly, "Not interested." Yi Chen Feng ignored the charming woman and shook his head. "If you're willing to give me this hairpin, I can consider giving this teleportation array to you." "This? Forget it if you're unwilling." With that, Yi Chen Feng walked towards the teleportation array. "Okay, I promise you." The temptation of the teleportation array was too great. The charming woman gritted her teeth, took off the hairpin on her head, and gave it to Yi Chen Feng. "Okay, this teleportation array is yours. I wish you good luck." Yi Chen Feng put the pearl hair clip on his body, and without any hesitation, he flew away at an extremely fast speed. Just you wait. It's not that easy to blackmail this lady's things. The hairpin on the charming woman's head was an extremely high-level concealment treasure. When it was put on the body, it could conceal all auras. Even a peak-empty god would not be able to detect it. However, in order to enter the depths of the ancient Star Road, she could only reluctantly give it up. She resentfully looked at the back of Yi Chen Feng, who had ignored her beauty. She put a large number of teleportation stones into the teleportation array, activated it, and disappeared from the starland. However, the level of this teleportation array was not high. She only teleported for an hour before she fell out of the teleportation array. This made her even angrier. By now, Yi Chen Feng had already reached the depths of this broken star continent. Along the way, he discovered several starry sky transportation arrays. However, the God-Eater Brain's senses told him that these starry sky transportation arrays weren't of a high grade. Thus, Yi Chen-feng didn't waste too much time and continued searching the broken star continent. Finally, he found a dilapidated temple in the dilapidated starland, and an incomparably huge starry sky teleportation array was sealed within the dilapidated temple. "I finally found the biggest teleportation array in the starland." Yi Chen-feng was overjoyed when he felt a strong teleportation force in the temple. He flew over quickly. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The moment he flew into the dilapidated temple, the statues outside the temple came to life. They burst out with monstrous divine power and attacked him with divine weapons. "Chaotic territory, break for me." When the 6 great deity statues attacked, Yi Chen-feng immediately activated his desolate domain, enveloping it and suppressing it. As Yi Chen-feng's strength increased, the power of his chaotic territory increased. Yi Chen-feng pushed his chaotic territory to the extreme. The strength of the chaotic territory exceeded 300 trillion jin and broke the 6 statues like breaking rotten wood. This is when the 6 statues were broken. Yi Chen-feng found 6 six-colored glowing pearls. These pearls contained divine power that far surpassed the 5-colored divine stones. Whoosh! Yi Chen-feng opened his mouth and swallowed the 6 pearls into his stomach. Immediately, a large amount of pure divine power exploded in his body and merged with the desolate body, rapidly increasing his strength. The bottleneck that he had been struggling to break through to the next cultivation level loosened slightly. The ancient Starland Road lives up to its name. The opportunities here are unimaginable. Yi Chen-feng felt that if he could obtain more 6-colored glowing pearls, he might be able to borrow the pure divine power contained in the 6-colored glowing pearls to break through to the peak of the void god realm. What a mystical Tao pattern! After walking into the dilapidated temple, Yi Chen-feng realized that there were ancient Tao patterns carved on the temple walls. If he could comprehend these Tao patterns, it would greatly increase his attainment in Tao meaning. Chapter 2171. That's a forest. Walking out of the teleportation array, Yi Chen-feng saw a huge forest floating under the starry sky. His body flashed, and he flew over with extreme speed. Such tall, ancient trees! After flying into the dilapidated forest, Yi Chen-feng realized that the ancient trees here were several hundred zhang tall. It would take dozens of people to wrap their arms around each tree. There were many terrifying demonic beasts residing in the forest. Many of them had already gone extinct in the void god world. It was impossible to see them again. However, Yi Chen-feng's aura was too terrifying. These demonic beasts didn't dare to attack him. Yi Chen-feng stepped on the thick branches and soon arrived at the depths of the forest. As he walked, Yi Chen-feng frowned slightly. He looked at the king of ancient trees, and the corner of his mouth rose slightly, revealing a cold smile. Swish! When Yi Chen-feng got close to this king of ancient trees that was several hundred zhang tall and covered the sky with luxuriant leaves, an ear-piercing sound rang out. A man shrouded in a black robe, whose face couldn't be seen clearly, was holding an extremely sharp long sword. He was stabbing towards Yi Chen-feng with extreme speed. Although the black-robed man's attack was very sudden, Yi Chen-feng, who had the God-Eater Brain, had already detected his presence. With the God-Eater Brain's deduction, Yi Chen-feng easily captured the trajectory of his attack. Seeing that Yi Chen-feng's throat was about to be pierced, Yi Chen-feng quickly extended 2 fingers and clamped down on the tip of the sword, breaking his sure-kill attack. What? The black-robed man didn't expect Yi Chen-feng to react so quickly. He actually clamped down on the tip of the sword with 2 fingers and decisively changed his move. He opened up a powerful domain and amplified the attack power of his sword. He wanted to push away Yi Chen-feng's fingers and pierce his throat. However, Yi Chen-feng's strength far surpassed his. Even after the black-robed man merged with his domain power, he still couldn't push away Yi Qinfeng's fingers. With a kacha sound, Yi Qinfeng exerted a slight force with his 2 fingers and shattered the pseudo-void god artifact in the man's hand. The pseudo-void god artifact was crushed by Yi Qinfeng's fingers. The black-robed man's heart was in turmoil. Without any hesitation, he entered the spatial trajectory and tried to escape. Escape? Do you think you can escape? Yi Qinfeng's pupils constricted. His right hand shot out like lightning and grabbed the black-robed man's shoulder. A huge force pressed the black-robed man down from the air. More than half of his body sank into the hard ground. No, don't kill me. If you spare my life, I'm willing to tell you a big secret. The black-robed man didn't expect Yi Qinfeng's strength to be so terrifying. He had no choice but to throw out a huge temptation, begging Yi Qinfeng to spare his life. Not interested, Yi Qinfeng said coldly. His right hand shot out a huge amount of divine force and bombarded the black-robed man's body. It shattered the black-robed man's body and soul, killing him on the spot. After killing the black-robed man, Yi Qinfeng kept the black-robed man's belongings and continued to fly towards the ancient forest. He was looking for opportunities and the space teleportation formation. A formation. As Yi Qinfeng flew, he suddenly realized that there was a huge amount of illusory force in the air. It kept confusing his soul and causing him to lose his sense of direction. Creation, sword, soul, break. Yi Qinfeng's pupils constricted. With the help of the God-Eater brain, he locked onto a huge ancient tree and controlled the creation's sword soul to slash at it. Boom! After receiving the attack from the creation's sword soul, the huge ancient tree shattered. The illusory force that was disturbing Yi Qinfeng also disappeared. That is, when the illusory force disappeared, Yi Qinfeng saw a 3-meter-tall, blood-red flower with a flower bud the size of a water tank in the distance. When Yi Qinfeng got close to the flower, it suddenly bloomed and released a refreshing fragrance that entered Yi Qinfeng's nose. It smells so good. Smelling the dense fragrance of the flowers, Yi Qinfeng suddenly felt dizzy. The dense fragrance of the flowers created a large number of illusions in his soul sea, confusing his soul. Sensing danger, Yi Qinfeng immediately held his breath and dispelled the influence of the illusions. At this moment, sharp teeth suddenly appeared on the blooming flower and bit at Yi Qinfeng, trying to swallow him. However, after cultivating to the sacred body realm, the primitive body was comparable to a creation artifact. The flower's sharp teeth couldn't bite Yi Qinfeng's body at all. Sword realm break. Withstanding the great tearing force of the strange flower, Yi Qinfeng opened his sword domain and directly cut off the strange flower's body. He cut off the blood-red flower and destroyed its intelligence. The ancient road of the starry sky is indeed dangerous. Yi Qinfeng didn't expect that he would still encounter danger despite being so careful. Fortunately, his primitive body was strong enough to save him from danger. Chaos Dharma Idol devour! With a thought, Yi Qinfeng summoned his primal Chaos Dharma Idol and swallowed the strange blood-red flower. Then he continued walking towards the ancient forest. At the same time, fierce battles were happening in every corner of the ancient road of the starry sky. Some people obtained great opportunities on the ancient road of the starry sky and broke through to the next realm with the help of the origin. Some people also lost their lives on the ancient road of the starry sky. Yi Wuji, Shan Huang, Ren Huang, and the others who had entered the ancient road of the starry sky didn't waste any time on the ancient road of the starry sky. They constantly searched for powerful teleportation formations in the broken time. They all wanted to enter the ruins of God as soon as possible and find the opportunity to become gods. Yes, it's dangerous. When Yi Qinfeng flew to the deepest part of the ancient forest, he found an ancient tree that was almost 10,000 feet tall. Its body was wrapped with dragon-like vines, and its leaves were of different shapes and sizes. They were like colored glass and covered the sky. When he saw this ancient tree, he felt a deep sense of danger from the depths of his heart. This is the soul-swallowing colored glass wood. Looking at the giant tree in front of him, Yi Chen-feng immediately recognized it. It was one of the 10 great ancient trees in the universe, the soul-swallowing colored glass wood. Although the divine power of the 10 great ancient trees was far less than that of the 3 great godly trees, the soul-swallowing colored glass wood in front of him had existed for too long. The divine power it contained had reached an extremely terrifying level. If the Chaos Dharma idol devoured this soul-swallowing colored glass wood, it would greatly increase the Chaos Dharma idol's power and strengthen Yi Chen-feng's foundation. Bang! 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 As Yi Chen-feng approached the soul-devouring glazed wood step by step, the ground beneath his feet suddenly trembled. Thick tree roots broke out of the hard ground and attacked Yi Chen-feng like an earth dragon. The moment the soul-swallowing colored glass wood's tree roots attacked Yi Chen-feng, the tall ancient trees seemed to come alive. They swayed their lush canopies and reflected endless light as they attacked Yi Chen-feng. Chaos Domain! Facing the attack of the ancient trees, tree roots, and canopies, Yi Chen-feng did not dodge. Instead, he opened up his powerful domain power and constantly neutralized the danger as he approached the soul-swallowing colored glass wood. Human, be obedient and become my fertilizer. An old face suddenly appeared from the soul-swallowing colored glass wood and let out a ferocious roar. The terrifying sound waves were like billions of spring thunder, exploding in Yi Chen-feng's ears and attacking his soul. Chaos Fist! Withstanding the terrifying roar released by the soul-swallowing colored glass wood, Yi Chen-feng instantly ignited his primordial blood and merged it with the Chaos Domain. He raised his strength to 600 trillion kilograms and blasted out the Chaos Fist at the soul-swallowing colored glass wood. Withstanding Yi Chen-feng's tyrannical punch that could shatter stars, the soul-swallowing colored glass wood's thick tree trunk immediately cracked. The terrifying power blasted the soul-swallowing colored glass wood hundreds of meters away, revealing its dragon-like, glassy tree roots. Human, you have angered me. Chapter 2172. Boom! The huge tree stump collided with Yi Chen-feng's fist. More than 600 billion pounds of force poured into the tree stump. The powerful force cracked the tree stump and forced the soul-devouring, glazed wood to retreat. You, how can you have such terrifying strength? The soul-devouring glazed wood stared at Yi Chen-feng with its turbid old eyes and roared loudly. A mere tree spirit doesn't need to know so much. Yi Chen-feng didn't give the soul-devouring glazed wood a chance to breathe. He continued to launch a fierce attack with the sword steps. He relied on his absolute strength to suppress the soul-devouring glazed wood. Yi Chen-feng completely suppressed its attacks. The soul-devouring glazed wood immediately controlled the surrounding ancient trees to attack Yi Chen-feng. However, Yi Chen-feng's physical body was too terrifying. Before the ancient trees could attack Yi Chen-feng's physical body, they were shattered by the surging power in his body. Danger! Just as Yi Chen-feng launched a tidal wave of attacks at the soul-devouring glazed wood, intending to destroy its ancient tree body, the god-devouring brain, which was rapidly deducing, suddenly sensed danger. A black shadow flew out from the chaos of the ancient trees at an extremely fast speed. A sword pierced towards Yi Chen-feng's back, wanting to pierce through him in one strike. Time stop! At this critical moment, Yi Chen-feng suddenly stopped time and forcibly froze the black shadow who attacked him in midair, unable to move. Then, Yi Chen-feng withstood the attack of the soul-devouring, glazed wood. He suddenly turned around and merged with the chaos territory. He raised his physical strength to the extreme and threw out a punch that could shatter the void. Boom! With a punch, The space in front of the black figure immediately wrinkled. The terrifying power slammed into his body and sent him flying, leaving behind a large amount of blood in the air. Well, he's not dead. Yi Qinfeng raised his eyebrows and revealed a look of surprise. He was surprised that this black shadow's body didn't shatter after receiving his punch. Just as Yi Qinfeng was about to press the advantage and kill the black shadow, the enraged soul-devouring glazed wood attacked. Its dragon-like roots wrapped around Yi Qinfeng. Chaos Dharma form, destroy him for me. At the critical moment, Yi Qinfeng summoned the chaotic Dharma idol and ordered it to attack the soul-devouring glazed wood while he chased after the seriously injured black shadow. Chaos Divine Wood, why is the Chaos Divine Wood on you? The soul-devouring glazed wood instinctively showed a look of fear when it sensed the divine wood aura from the Chaos Dharma idol. Although the soul-devouring glazed wood was one of the 10 great ancient trees of the universe, there was still a big gap between it and the chaotic divine wood. Facing the attack of the chaotic Dharma idol, it was instinctively suppressed. And Yi Qinfeng, with his astonishing speed, had already caught up with the Black Shadow Man who had ambushed him, and continued to launch fierce attacks at him. Don't hide your head and show your tail. Quickly reveal your true form. Yi Qinfeng relied on his absolute strength to suppress the Black Shadow Man. He continuously executed supreme superpowers to attack his body, aggravating his injuries. Although the Black Shadow Man had reached the perfect empty god realm, in terms of combat strength, he was far behind Yi Qinfeng. Ancestral swords. Yi Qinfeng threw out an overbearing punch. When the Black Shadow Man was pushed back, he instantly merged with the sword territory and intertwined tens of thousands of invincible divine swords. They engulfed the Black Shadow Man and shredded the black robe that was covering his body, revealing a face full of scars and sword shadows. It was beyond recognition. On his forehead, there were ancient Tao runes that formed the word kill. God Kill Assassin Organization. Looking at the ancient word kill on the Black Shadow Man's forehead, Yi Qinfeng immediately thought of an ancient memory in the soul devouring God's brain. This memory was related to the God Kill Assassin Organization. Legend had it that the God Kill Assassin Organization had been rampant in the ancient times. They had terrorized the various tribes. More than 30 empty gods had died in their hands. However, during an assassination mission, a king of assassins from the God Kill Assassin Organization had killed the holy son of the divine tribe, the #1 tribe in the void god world. This had infuriated the leader of the divine tribe, the God Emperor. The God Emperor had gathered all the divine tribe almighties to take revenge on the God Kill Assassin Organization at all costs. After many years of intense killing, the divine tribe had eradicated the God Kill Assassin Organization. However, the divine tribe had suffered a great loss. Some people said that the divine tribe had been annihilated by the divine tribe because of the battle between the divine tribe and the God Kill Assassin Organization. If the divine tribe had not suffered a great loss, the divine tribe might not have been able to annihilate them. A centipede dies but never falls down. I didn't expect the God Kill Assassin Organization to still exist in this world. Yi Qinfeng's eyes narrowed. He continued to attack the Black Shadow Man. He wanted to capture him alive and search his soul. Facing Yi Qinfeng, who was undefeatable, the Black Shadow Man immediately executed a strange movement skill and dodged with all his might. Time stop. The Black Shadow Man had inherited the God Kill Assassin Organization. His movement skill was mysterious. However, under the restriction of time stop, he could not dodge Yi Qinfeng's ferocious attacks. His physical body was severely injured again. He fell heavily to the ground and lost the ability to continue fighting. Divine Essence Pagoda, suppress. Yi Qinfeng had summoned the Divine Essence Pagoda to suppress the Black Shadow Man. However, the Black Shadow Man suddenly self-destructed, causing Yi Qinfeng's plan to search his soul to fail. The situation is getting more complicated. It seems like I have to hurry up and enter the ruins of deity. Yi Qinfeng muttered to himself. He quickly turned around and returned to the depths of the ancient forest. He and the chaotic Dharma power suppressed the soul, devouring glazed wood together. Under the combined attacks of Yi Qinfeng and the chaotic Dharma power, the soul-devouring glazed wood's injuries worsened. Huge cracks spread across the tree trunk. Chaotic Dharma power devour! The soul-devouring glazed wood's trunk cracked. Yi Qinfeng immediately summoned the universal origin sword and pierced through the tree trunk. He forced the soul-devouring glazed wood back to its original form. The chaotic Dharma power broke into the soul-devouring glazed wood and started devouring it. Ayo, ayo, ayo! Painful cries sounded in the starry sky. Under the frenzied devouring of the chaotic Dharma power, the soul-devouring glazed wood withered rapidly. Finally, it turned into a dead tree and lost its life. After devouring the soul-devouring glazed wood, the chaotic Dharma power more than doubled. Yi Qinfeng did not waste any time. He kept the chaotic Dharma power back into his body and flew into the depths of the ancient forest. He found another powerful space teleportation array and continued to travel into the depths of the ancient path of stars. Time flew by. Soon, 3 months had passed. In these 3 months, Yi Qinfeng used the space teleportation array to travel to many star regions. During the space teleportation array, he encountered danger and was sent to a place of great danger. Fortunately, he was strong enough. He relied on his absolute combat strength to turn the danger into safety. The pearl hair clip also concealed his aura, allowing him to avoid many dangers. In the end, Yi Qinfeng killed many dangers in the danger zone and obtained several 6-colored luminous pearls that contained pure divine power. He refined them into his body and increased his strength. I finally found you. When Yi Qinfeng appeared in a severely damaged herb garden floating in the starry sky, a cold voice rushed into his ears. Chapter 2173. It's you. Why are you looking for me? Yi Qinfeng said indifferently as he glanced at the charming woman and the late-stage faux god-fiend king White Tiger, whose fiendish aura surged into the sky. Humph. Why do you think I'm looking for you? The charming woman looked at Yi Qinfeng with hatred and said, Tiger King, he was the one who bullied me back then and stole my treasures. Tiger King, please seek justice for me and take revenge for me. The charming woman said with tears in her eyes, Roar, leave it to me. The White Tiger Demon King roared and stared at Yi Qinfeng with blood-red eyes. He said with murderous intent, If you don't want to die, get lost. Although Yi Qinfeng did not know what method the charming woman used to bewitch the White Tiger Demon King, he was not interested in the charming woman or the White Tiger Demon King in the slightest. You're courting death. The White Tiger Demon King was enraged when he saw the disdain in Yi Qinfeng's eyes. He opened his mouth and let out a ferocious roar. Rolling demonic aura gushed out and bombarded Yi Qinfeng. However, before the terrifying demonic aura could hit Yi Qinfeng, it was dispersed by the power that he exuded. So you're an empty god, realm master. The White Tiger Demon King stared and opened his mouth. He spat out an 8 trigrams array, which evolved into a mysterious Tao essence and attacked Yi Qinfeng. Break! Yi Qinfeng did not dodge the attack of the 8 trigrams array. Instead, he threw out a punch to meet the attack. The terrifying fist radiance had unparalleled destructive power. It shattered the 8 trigrams array and bombarded the 8 trigrams array. The explosive power caused cracks to appear on the 8 trigrams array. What? The 8 trigrams formation was the #1 treasure of the White Tiger Demon Clan. Its might was comparable to a void god artifact, but it couldn't withstand the might of Yi Qinfeng's punch. This caused a huge wave to surge in the White Tiger Demon King's heart. The look in his eyes changed drastically. Who are you? The White Tiger Fiend King discovered that Yi Qinfeng was far more horrifying than he had imagined. He no longer took the initiative to provoke Yi Qinfeng. Isn't it a little too late to ask about my identity now? Yi Qinfeng sneered. He turned into a dazzling afterimage and appeared in front of the White Tiger Demon King. He swung his palm and slapped the huge White Tiger Demon King away. No, don't come over. Seeing Yi Qinfeng send the White Tiger Demon King flying with a single slap and then looking at her, the charming woman was scared out of her wits. I didn't want to kill you, but you really don't cherish your life. Yi Qinfeng's steps were heavy as he walked towards the pale-faced beauty. The terrifying pressure from his fleshly body caused her to suffocate. Wait, it's all my fault this time. As long as you let me go, I'm willing to agree to any of your conditions. The charming woman was terrified and pitifully begged. Supreme Deity Clan leader, help. Just when Yi Qinfeng was about to make a move to kill the charming woman and the White Tiger Demon King, the White Tiger Demon King suddenly noticed a figure that flickered with the light of Tao insight tear through the sky, and he was overjoyed in his heart as he opened his bloody mouth and loudly cried for help. Supreme Deity Heaven. Through the gaps of the ancient trees, Yi Qinfeng saw Supreme Deity Heaven appear. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he revealed a cold smile. Tiger King. Hearing the White Tiger Demon King's cry for help, Supreme Deity Heaven, who was wearing a dark golden robe and standing on the wheel of Heaven Path, frowned slightly. Thinking of the cooperation between the Sky Clan and the White Tiger Clan, he quickly flew down. Because Yi Qinfeng's hair clip covered his aura, Supreme Deity Heaven did not discover Yi Qinfeng's existence for a while. Supreme Deity Clan leader, help. This person wants to kill us. Supreme Deity Clan leader, please help us. When the desperate, charming woman saw Supreme Deity Heaven appear, she knelt on the ground without caring about her image. She allowed her collar to fall, revealing her beautiful cleavage. You are going to be disappointed. I'm afraid Supreme Deity Heaven can't help you. Yi Qinfeng said flatly as he looked at Supreme Deity Heaven with his hands behind his back. Yi Qinfeng, it's you. Looking at Yi Qinfeng, Supreme Deity Heaven's face changed slightly as a few thoughts flashed through his mind. Although he had obtained many rare opportunities on the ancient road of the starry sky and his strength had increased, he realized that Yi Qinfeng's strength had also increased significantly. He was only half a step away from breaking through the peak empty God realm. Furthermore, it was not wise to fight with Yi Qinfeng at this time. That's right, it's me. Yi Qinfeng nodded and said, Supreme Deity Heaven, I wonder if you are willing to help them and fight with me in advance. Yi Qinfeng, don't be arrogant. When His Majesty Emperor God becomes a god, he will destroy your entire family. Several thoughts flashed through Supreme Deity Heaven's mind. In the end, his rationality prevailed over his impulse. He left behind some harsh words and immediately flew away. Supreme Deity Clan leader, don't go. You can't abandon us. Seeing that Supreme Deity Heaven did not dare to make a move and left quickly, the White Tiger Demon King and the charming woman panicked and shouted loudly. Don't shout. It's useless. No one can save you if you provoke me. Yi Qinfeng said coldly as he looked at Supreme Deity Heaven's back view. He revealed an arrogant smile. Sensing Yi Qinfeng's terror, the White Tiger Demon King did not hesitate to burn his powerful blood qi and increase his speed to the maximum. He turned into a ray of demonic light and fled quickly. The White Tiger Demon King's escape speed was fast, but the Creation Sword Spirit's attack speed was even faster. In the blink of an eye, the Creation Sword Spirit, which had turned into a 3-foot giant sword, slashed the White Tiger Demon King's body, splitting his huge body in half. His demon core and soul shattered at the same time, turning into a cloud of blood mist in midair. He died on the spot. No, don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Witnessing the scene of Yi Qinfeng killing the White Tiger Demon King with one strike, the charming woman was scared out of her wits. In order to ask Yi Qinfeng to spare her life, she shamelessly tore her clothes, revealing her graceful body. Facing the charming woman's fatal temptation, Yi Chun-fong was unmoved. He controlled the creation's sword spirit to slash down and kill her in one strike. After killing the White Tiger Demon King and the charming woman, Yi Chun-fong immediately took their belongings and flew into the depths of this dilapidated herb garden. In the depths of the herb garden, Yi Chun-fong found several precious divine herbs and was attacked by more than 10 terrifying grass dragons. Although the strength of the grass dragons in the herb garden was comparable to a late Nihility God Realm expert, they were no threat to Yi Chun-fong. Yi Chun-fong controlled the creation sword spirit and attacked with all his strength. He continuously killed the ferocious grass dragons and obtained the incomparably precious 6 colored light pearls, which he refined into his body. At the same time, he refined more than 10 6-colored light pearls. Yi Chun-feng's divine power had reached saturation. However, it was not easy for a great perfection Nihility God to reach the peak Nihility God realm. Yi Chun-feng tried many methods, but he could not break through the bottleneck and step into the peak Nihility God realm. Forget it. I'll enter the ruins of God first. If it really doesn't work, I'll try using the spirit of gods. Unable to break through, Yi Chun-feng had no choice but to give up. He picked up the divine objects in the herb garden and quickly went to the depths of the herb garden. He broke through the powerful restrictions and activated the Starry Sky teleportation array sealed in the herb garden. He arrived at the depths of the ancient Starry Sky path and was blocked by a long river that seemed to be formed by billions of stars. Chapter 2174. Chun-feng, you're here. A deep voice entered Yi Chun-feng's ears. Yi Wuji, Shen Yaotian ancestor dragon god, Tai, and the others had arrived early. They slowly walked toward Yi Chun-feng. Father, is this the galaxy you were talking about? Seeing that Yi Wuji and the others did not cross the river, Yi Chun-feng knew that this galaxy river was no small matter. That's right, this is the galaxy river, and the ruins of God is on the other side of the galaxy river. Yi Wuji nodded. How do we cross the river? Yi Chun-feng looked at the boundless galaxy river from afar and asked. There's only one way to cross the river, and that's to wait for a starship. Only by riding a starship can one cross the galaxy river. If one tries to cross the galaxy river by force, even virtual gods will die. Yi Wuji explained in detail. However, not every starship can reach the ruins of God. Some starships will bring people to other places of opportunity, and some starships will bring people to their deaths. This river of stars is so terrifying. Yi Chun-feng sucked in a breath of cold air. Yi Chun-feng had fought with Shen Huang before, so he knew very well how terrifying a Nihility God Almighty was. However, the river of stars before his eyes was able to kill a Nihility God Almighty. This made Yi Chun-feng feel even more shocked. Legend has it that the ruins of God is the place where gods die. Even gods can die here. Virtual gods are nothing. Yi Wuji said calmly, All right, let's wait patiently. I think the starship will appear soon. Time passed day by day. As time passed, more and more Almighties arrived at the galaxy river. At this moment, endless starlight suddenly fell from the galaxy, condensing into starships that were more than 3 meters long. Whoosh! As soon as the starships appeared, a half-step virtual god jumped onto a starship and drove it toward the end of the galaxy river. He wanted to be the first to enter the ruins of God. Seeing this half-step virtual god's actions, Shen Huang, Ren Huang, and the others did not move. They watched as he gradually disappeared into the distance. Seeing that this person was not in danger, another person jumped onto the starship, intending to cross the starry river. About half an incense stick worth of time later, a huge whirlpool suddenly appeared in the starry river, blocking the starship's path. When the whirlpool appeared, the expression of the half-step empty God Almighty who was controlling the river of stars changed drastically. He immediately summoned a powerful treasure to attack with all his might, wanting to use his strength to forcefully cross the whirlpool. However, the whirlpool in the River of Stars was too terrifying. This almighty half-step virtual god used all his skills to no avail. In the end, he was swallowed by the whirlpool along with his ship, leaving nothing behind. Seeing the death of the first half-step virtual god realm almighty, the faces of the several almighties who were driving the starships and trying to cross the River of Stars changed dramatically. They kept praying in their hearts. At this time, an enormous wave that overflowed to the heavens suddenly appeared within the starry river. Within the enormous wave, a beast head that was like a mountain appeared. It stared with a pair of starry eyes, locking onto the several almighty void god realm experts that were getting closer and closer. No. Seeing the cosmic monster that had suddenly appeared before them, the almighties revealed looks of despair. They wanted to turn the ship around and escape. However, the starship was very strange. No one could control it. They could only watch as the cosmic monster got closer and closer. In the end, the cosmic monster opened its bloody mouth and swallowed them all. What a terrifying monster! Father, can you sense the level of that cosmic monster just now? Yi Chen-feng did not expect such a monster to be hidden in the River of Stars. He gulped and looked at Yi Wuji, who had a solemn expression, and asked telepathically, "That cosmic monster should have the combat strength of an extreme virtual god. If we really fight, I'm afraid I'm no match for it." Yi Wuji said with a cold expression, "An extreme virtual god monster." Yi Chen-feng gasped. It was impossible to see such a monster in the outside world. Shen Huang and Ren Huang, who were not far away, looked at the cosmic monster that had suddenly appeared. Their expressions were solemn. Yi Wuji had been to the ruins of gods before, so he was quite knowledgeable about the selection of starships. He transmitted his voice to the others. "All right, let's pick a starship quickly. Remember, the starships that can enter the ruins of gods will have a trace of divine aura. You just need to sense the divine aura of the starship." Swoosh! Just as Yi Chen-feng and the rest were sitting cross-legged and releasing their powerful soul power to sense the starships, Ren Huang, who was wearing a long golden robe, suddenly flew up into the sky and landed on a starship. He steered the starship into the distance of the River of Stars. "Ren Huang, he has found a starship that can enter the ruins of God." Thinking of Ren Huang's strength, no one believed that he would take the initiative to throw his life away. The starship that he had chosen would most likely be able to enter the ruins of God. Indeed, the starship that Ren Huang steered moved faster and faster. In the end, it did not encounter any danger and disappeared before everyone's eyes. Seeing that Ren Huang had entered the ruins of God, Shen Huang's expression turned extremely ugly. However, he knew the consequences of failing to pick a starship. He could only be patient and continue to pick. As time passed, more and more starships appeared at the edge of the River of Stars. Finally, Shen Huang found a starship that contained a divine charm. He steered the starship and disappeared into the River of Stars. Ren Huang and Shen Huang's successive successes gave many people hope. Some people began to risk their lives to choose a starship and cross the River of Stars. Among these people, some succeeded, some failed. There were even some who were taken to a mysterious place by the starship. Divine charm. How can I sense the divine charm? Yi Chen-feng controlled the god-eating brain to deduce at an extremely fast speed. He repeatedly sensed the starships, but he could not sense any divine charm from them. This made him somewhat anxious. I wonder if the spirits of gods have a special ability to sense divine charms. Thinking that the spirits of gods were related to God, Yi Chen-feng's mind stirred. He took out the spirits of gods that were sealed with layers of restrictions. He unlocked part of the restrictions and used the spirits of gods to sense the divine charms in the starships. Yi Chen-feng used the spirits of gods to sense the divine charms. He unexpectedly sensed a mysterious power in a small part of the starships. This power seemed to be the divine charm that Yi Wuji had mentioned. After sensing the mysterious power, Yi Chen-feng did not act rashly. He chose a starship from others and experimented. In the end, after several confirmations, Yi Chen-feng confirmed that the mysterious power he sensed through the spirits of gods was the divine charm. Father, Mother, Primitive Dragon God, Senior Tai, Phoenix God, if you trust me, I will help you choose a starship. Yi Chen-feng suddenly transmitted his voice to Yi Wuji and the others. Why? You can accurately sense the divine charm? Yi Wuji and the others' voices immediately reached Yi Chen-feng's ears. He asked in surprise, after the experiment just now, I can confirm that it should be correct. Yi Chen-feng nodded. He did not tell Tai and the others about the existence of the spirits of gods. All right, tell me which starship you have chosen. I will try it, Yi Wuji, who was skilled and bold, said arrogantly. The 11th starship, from the left. Yi Chen-feng transmitted his voice. All right, then I will go first. Everyone be careful. Yi Wuji trusted Yi Chen-feng without a doubt. His body flashed, and he appeared on the 11th starship. He steered the starship toward the other side of the starry river. Looking at Yi Wuji, who was getting farther and farther away, everyone became nervous. It could be said that Yi Wuji was their backbone. He was also their reliance against divine glory and the human sovereign. Nothing could happen to him. Under the nervous gazes of Yi Chen-feng and the others, Yi Wuji steered the starship faster and faster. In the end, it disappeared before everyone's eyes. Looks like Chen-feng chose the right starship. Chapter 2175. How could this be? Why did they choose the right starship? Seeing that the starship chosen by Yi Chen-feng and the others did not encounter any danger and was heading to the other side at an extremely fast speed, everyone's eyes were fixed on Yi Chen-feng. Yi Chen-feng did not pay attention to everyone's gazes. He sat cross-legged on the shore and used the spirits of gods to sense the divine charm of the starships. Junior, tell this god how you can choose the right starship time and time again. Mo Gu, who was wearing a black robe and emitting a monstrous devil chi, slowly walked over. He looked at Yi Chen-feng with a gloomy face and asked loudly, "It's just good luck." Yi Chen-feng opened his eyes slightly and glanced at Mo Gu, who was at the peak of the empty god realm, and said indifferently, although Mo Gu's strength was terrifying, Yi Chen-feng's strength had improved significantly in the past 5 months on the Ancient Star Road. Therefore, he was not afraid of him. Is that so? Obviously, Mo Gu did not believe Yi Chen-feng's words. Kid, if you are willing to tell me the method, how about we write off the enmity between you and the Devil Clan? Really? Yi Chen-feng's lips curled up slightly, revealing a smile. Yama God is dead. This god is the emperor of the Devil Clan. No one dares to disobey this god, Mo Gu said arrogantly. Well, since you want to know, I will tell you, Yi Chen-feng said indifferently. Every starship has its own spirituality. You have to try to communicate with them. Perhaps there will be a miraculous effect. You are not lying to me. Mo Gu's eyebrows were tightly knitted together as he said doubtfully, Believe it or not, we used this method to choose the starship to the other side of the ruins of gods, Yi Chen-feng said with a shrug. After saying that, he no longer paid attention to the gloomy Mo Gu and continued to look for a suitable starship with the help of the spirits of gods. At this time, more and more starlight fell from the starry sky and continued to condense into starships. Many powerful people who believed in Yi Chen-feng's method began to communicate with starships, trying to find the starship to the other side, but all of them failed. Whoosh! An ear-piercing sound rang out. Yi Chen-feng, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly opened his eyes and flew towards a starship. However, the moment Yi Chen-feng flew towards the starship, Ancient Devil, White Tiger Demon God, and the others all leaped into the air, wanting to compete for the starship that Yi Chen-feng had chosen. Seeing Gu and the others rapidly approaching, Yi Qinfeng's lips curled into a cold smile. Just as he was about to land on the starship, he suddenly turned around. Not good, it's a trap. Ancient Demon and the White Tiger monster god had been observing Yi Qinfeng's every move the entire time. The moment he turned around, the two of them immediately reacted, withstanding the terrifying pressure erupting from Yi Qinfeng and stopping in midair. Ah! Ancient Demon and the White Tiger monster god relied on their powerful strength to escape, but the several Void God Realm masters who wanted to snatch the starship were not spared. They were all forced to land on the starship by the powerful pressure released by Yi Qinfeng. A starship could only be steered by one person, and once it was chosen, it could not be changed. Therefore, even if this starship sailed to the other side, only one person could survive. Although these people gritted their teeth in hatred, they had no way to retreat. As the starship sailed to the other side of the Star River, they began to fight fiercely. Just as the battle reached its climax, the ferocious beast head emerged from the Star River, opened its bloody maw, and swallowed the people and the starship. Yi Qinfeng, you dare deceive us? Ancient Demon said with a gloomy expression. If he hadn't been careful, he might have already fallen into Yi Qinfeng's trap and died in the mouth of the starry sky monster. What do you mean? Did I ask you to follow me? Yi Qinfeng stood in midair and looked at Ancient Demon indifferently. After saying that, Yi Qinfeng's body flashed and appeared on a starship. Where do you think you're going? Seeing that Yi Qinfeng had chosen a starship, Ancient Demon rushed over without hesitation. He wanted to snatch the starship that Yi Qinfeng was steering. Primitive Fist. Yi Qinfeng instantly fused with the great desolate domain and increased his strength to 600 trillion genes. He blasted out a punch that could traverse the universe and bombarded Gu, trying to force him back. However, Ancient Demon was a peak empty god and his strength was terrifying. He held a grayish-brown tortoise shell in front of him, blocking the destructive power of the Primitive Fist. Ancient Demon Shadow. Using the tortoise shell as a defense, Ancient Demon forcibly stabilized his body and split into 3 Ancient Demon Shadows, attacking Yi Qinfeng from 4 different directions. Sword Realm Merge. With a thought, Yi Qinfeng summoned the Universal Origin Sword and merged it with the Sword Realm. He evolved the Supreme Sword Principle and swept towards the 3 Ancient Demon Shadows, crushing them instantly. The Ancient Demon Shadows were crushed, but Ancient Demon seized the opportunity and appeared on the starship. He fought with Yi Qinfeng for control of the starship. Gu, you brought this upon yourself. The starship could only send one person to the other side. In other words, Yi Qinfeng and Ancient Demon could only survive. Chaotic Celestial Phase Merge. Yi Qinfeng instantly merged with the Chaotic Celestial Phase and burned his primordial blood and God's heart. He raised his combat strength to the level of a peak empty god and held the Universal Origin Sword to fight with Ancient Demon on the starship. Stone Ancestor, who do you think will survive in the end? The White Tiger Demon God said with a grave expression as he watched the starship fly away, and Yi Qinfeng and Jian Wushuang fight intensely on the starship. It's hard to say. Stone Ancestor shook his head and said, but if it were me, I wouldn't dare to fight with that kid for the starship. Yes, like father, like son. Yi Wuji's son is no ordinary person. I think Ancient Demon is going to suffer a great loss. A tall and thin old man with shriveled skin and slightly slow movements walked over and said in a hoarse voice. This old man was known as the Tree Ancestor. Although his body was far inferior to the 3 sacred trees and the 10 ancient trees, he was the oldest tree in the Void God Realm. The power he contained was far from what the 10 ancient trees could compare to. I don't think so. White Tiger Demon God shook his head and said, I am familiar with Ancient Demon. He is a very cautious person. If he dares to snatch Yi Qinfeng's starship in front of everyone, he must have a heaven-defying trump card. I believe he will have the last laugh. Yes, ancient demon is a peak, empty god after all. His realm is far superior to Yi Qianfeng's. I think Yi Qianfeng is doomed. A man shrouded in a black robe slowly walked over. His appearance couldn't be seen clearly. Then let's wait and see. I believe the outcome will be decided soon. Stone Ancestor glanced at the mysterious black-robed man and said coldly. While everyone was talking, the battle between Yi Qianfeng and Ancient Demon had reached a white-hot stage. However, the starship was so strong that the destructive force caused by the battle between the two could not destroy it.